Welcome back to day 3 here of the 2025 Road America Challenge at the home of the National Park of Speed. I am Brian Donati along with Brendan Kazmarek. And Brendan, today we are going to do some enduro racing. We're going to go 75 minutes for both of our groups. We're going to start out this morning with our purple group, which is our lower half of the group here. Looking to be about 29 strong drivers here. Again, we'll get into what the strategies are possibly could be and what the rules are for this enduro. But I tell you what, this is going to be where not only is the drivers going to have to understand the strategy and understand these cars, but the crews are going to have to sit there and they're going to have to work together. We'll talk about, again, as I just said, about some of the rules as we go, but as our cars start to roll out, this is where all the things come to play here for this weekend.
Just saw it on the side of Siggy Meissner's car as he drove by here in the pit lane. It says Alles Super on the quarter panel. That's how I feel about endurance racing, Brian. Everything's fantastic. It allows strategy to take place. It really highlights consistency of both pace and precision out on track. It highlights skill in traffic and making good decisions in traffic. Obviously, we spread ourselves out here a little bit over the 4-mile Road America layout, but it does kind of play into a different skill set we don't normally see in our 30-minute sprint races. This will be the purple group. These are our spec Boxsters, spec Caymans. Most of the blue sprint group that we saw yesterday, GT3, 4, SP3, 911 Cup, and the Alphabet Soup classes E through I as well. Get through the grid. 29 cars strong, as you said earlier, Brian, for this endurance race presented by Pirelli. Pirelli and Frisbee Performance Tires have been a winning, and Porsche have been a winning combination around the racing world for years. Pirelli is proud to bring that relationship to PCA Club Racing yet again in 2025. Make sure to see the guys from Frisbee at your PCA Club races to find the right Pirelli tire for your vehicle, or check them out on the web at frisbeeracetire.com. Pirelli, power is nothing without control. We go to row number 1 on Purple Endurance Grid. It is the 079 of Charles Liu GT3 entry alongside Matt DiStefano, big winner, sweeper actually, in the blue races this weekend, in that number 93 start on the outside of the front row. Scott Gill in number 158 will start alongside the 321 of Eric Gort. So a fantastic scrap that actually, DiStefano didn't pick up the win yesterday, did he? Because Yorsoy and Gill were in that incident down at the kink, right at the very end. That's absolutely right. So see if those cars were able to be repaired. I don't know. Did you see them roll off the grid here, Brian?
I did see Matt DiStefano roll out. So.
Okay, and then Yorsoy is there on the outside. Yep. Actually, that might be Gill as well. Anyway, let's get to row number 3. It is Waleed Chahadi in the number 147 to start on the inside. Steve Garrison in the GT3, number 427 on the outside. Row number 4 is Michael Venable in the 122 alongside Tim Lambie in the 39. Row number 5 on the inside, Paul Van Eden in the 648 alongside the 556 of Dominic Belvedere, spec Cayman entry. SP3 pole sitter is Greg Rojic in that number 320 alongside Pavel Puhalski, and the GT4 entered number 241. P13, the inside of row 7, is the 911 Cup entry of Alan Wilt alongside number 19 of Jason Nupp. That is a spec Cayman. Row number 8, Doug Crossman in the G-Class 964 RS America alongside the spec Boxster pole sitter of Rob Walker, number 111. P17, Tanner Market in the 896 alongside Rick Fisher in the H class, number 163. Row number 10, Tim Nagy in the 316. So some separation there between the spec Boxsters. It's probably the farthest we've seen them apart all weekend, to be honest with you, alongside Dennis Hiffman in the SP3 entered number 14. Throw in one more row here for good measure as we come to the start. Row number 11, P21 will be Dwayne Moses in the 911 Cup, number 641, alongside Richard Eggleston in the H class, number 515. Brian?
I tell you what, as they come up through up the hill there, getting ready to start this enduro and start the clock here, 75 minutes. There it is. I was going to say Charles Liu had a big lead on Matt DiStefano, and then basically had to slow himself down. That allowed DiStefano to get a good run. And Brendan, we're going to go 2 wide, 3 wide. Looks like Venable's going to go all the way down. We're going to go 4 wide down into turn 1. Drivers, that does not work right off the start. I know you want to get out there in front, but 4 wide coming out of turn 1, headed down into turn 2. We talked about it all weekend long. That does close down. That is not a place you want to be, but it does look like all of our drivers are able to get through there. pretty cleanly. And what that's going to do, Brendan, is that's going to allow Charles Liu in that 0.79 to really cake out and get a big lead over Matt DiStefano. Eric Yortsoy back a little bit further as well, along with Wally Chetty. And as I talked about, Michael Venable in that 122, and that spec came and tried to get the quick run. He's going to drop back now almost into 5th place overall here as they come down in the hill, down into turn 5, make that left hand up the hill under the Corvette bridge into turn number 6.
Kind of surprised to see that 3 wide there at the start. You would have thought with this hour and 15-minute Enduro, we've got plenty of room and plenty of time to sort ourselves out. Not really the case there. Again, 2 almost 3 wide on the exit of the of that turn number 6. Easy to get a run through 6 there if you find yourself right at the apex. Easy also to run wide and open the door for somebody, but it really narrows on the approach to turn 7. A quick 4th gear right-hander. Look at the lead Charles Liu has built for himself.
Yeah, I tell you what, Venable's really trying to push the issue there, because when they came through turn 6 that very first time, it was him and Wally Chetty. We had the 427 there of Steve Garrison. He had to come completely out of the throttle, said, hey, look, I still got plenty of time here. I'll let you guys go. I should be able to run back up on you guys. So Venable looks like he's going to be back behind Garrison there as they come through the kink and down into Canada corner. So again, not able to make that stick as well. But Michael Venable really pushing the issue here on the first couple of turns.
Yeah, worth noting, we did not get Scott Gill rolling off the grid there. That car, I did see it in the paddock yesterday, and I would have been shocked if it were out there today. But I did have some hope. Is that Yortsoy back into P3 and Spec Cayman? Sure,
yeah,
looks like Steve Garrison maybe.
Yeah. And again, you know, it looks like Garrison may get around there and pull up. Here comes Charles Liu past the start-finish line here. DiStefano, now Wally Chetty, and now Yortsoy.
Yeah.
Yortsoy put him back into 4th. Again, this is the type of, race here we were talking about with strategies, and we'll cover here. All these drivers, you have to make a pit stop.
Yep.
The pits will open after the first 15 minutes.
Oh, so spinner on the exit of 14. Sorry, Brian.
Yep.
Blue Cayman from the looks of things.
See if it goes up the pit lane. Does not, is able to continue. We'll give you that number when they come by. Yeah, no. So the pits will open after the first 15 minutes of this race, and they will close. That was actually the number 19 that spun down the bottom of the hill there. That was Jackson Nupp. Again, pits will open first 15 minutes. After the first 15 minutes, they will close with 10 minutes left to go in the session. So you have to make your pit stop. It is a 5-minute pit stop. That 5 minutes will start the minute you cross the line, the timing line, and it will end when you get to pit out, and you must do 5 minutes. If you are under that 5 minutes, you will be brought into their black flag station, and you will get a stop and go, and it could result in the fact that if, depending on how much time you have, your sit could be a little bit longer based off of the length of what you have under that 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so,
penalty proportional to the crime there.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk more about some of the strategy aspects as we get a little bit deeper into the race. As you say, with the 5-minute minimum, the target is to meet that number as closely as you can without going over. You do want to be kind of not creative, but you want to be aggressive with your timing and not lose more time than you have to. But you have to be precise in how early you leave your pit stall and try and break that beam at the very end of pit lane at exactly that 5-minute mark. We'll see just how close everybody's able to kind of get to that number. But back to the racing on track, I kind of wanted to point out Eric Yortsoy in that number 321, sitting there behind Wally Chahadi in the 147. It's kind of a repeat of what we saw yesterday with Yortsoy behind Gill for the bulk of our second Enduro. Our second sprint race yesterday. Yortsoy was incredibly patient.
Yes.
Right. Didn't try and force the issue. Was happy to just kind of sit and let the race play out. If the door was going to open for him, okay, he'd go take advantage of it and try and make a move, but he wasn't going to put himself at risk. He wasn't going to put the car he was racing, in that case, Scott Gill, at any risk. I don't see Eric making a big lunge to try and go chase down Matt DiStefano. The problem is the longer he chooses to wait, the more likely it is that DiStefano is going to clear out down the road. And if he chooses to wait to make that that pit stop, that 5-minute pit stop. He's only going to sit in that nominally dirty air, but primarily being held up by Waleed. Even if it's just a couple of tenths a lap, that's less time you have at the end of the race to try and to close down to Matt DiStefano and make that differential up. Ooh, Waleed Shahadi throws the defensive move there going into turn 5.
Looks like Yortsoy tried to run the normal line, and I think Waleed thought he was definitely going to try to make that move and kind of moved over into driver's left there, thinking that's where he was, where Eric was going, and ended up not going to that position.
Yeah.
Again, you're pre-speculating what you think the driver behind you is going to do, and that will upset your car as well. Brendan, we've seen these enduros, especially in in the Porsche Club racing, throughout the season.
Shot
right
is
now.
wide. Gets it back and on the throttle early enough there. Gets the car rotated and is able to defend well going into the carousel from Yortsoy, but really, really drove it into turn 8 deep. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's the on-track action. Early on here was still an hour and 8 minutes left to go. Drivers are trying to get everything they can of it, but we have seen this, throughout the season, and this is kind of the largest track that we've been on for this enduro this season. So in most cases, these cars in this group, they don't need to take fuel.
Yeah.
Now, we're going 4.014 miles per lap here. Some of these cars may end up taking fuel during their strategy when they come in for their pit stop. Some, not all. Again, only really, the group that I would think that wouldn't need would be the Spec Boxsters. But again, there's only 3 of them out there, so it's not like it's a larger group. Our larger group is obviously the Spec Cayman group that we have with 8 cars in that group. Some may end up taking fuel, for this. So again, right now it's a matter of sitting there and just kind of waiting. You can see Rob Walker here. He is behind actually our 911 Cup, getting ready to make the move right there, coming up out of turn number 14.
All crowded.
With Karen Holmes she is not going to let that go early on. She needs to keep those other 911s up in there to sit there and stay close by. Karen's sitting there in second right now behind Alan Wilt in that 27, and it seems like those two have been at it pretty much the entire weekend, up except for Saturday morning when they, or Saturday afternoon when they came for their qualifying.
I'm going to be honest, I was a little surprised to see Rob Walker show the nose down there at turn 14. It was pretty obvious to me that the 911 Cup was going to have that punch off of the final corner and up the hill climbing towards start-finish. It's exactly what happened. I think showing the nose there and only getting halfway alongside leaves yourself open to potential contact. Maybe you surprise the car in front of you. Now, obviously, Karen had her eyes in the mirrors, knew that Rob was there.
Right.
But you are taking a risk if you don't think you can get all the way alongside. And in a case where you know you're going to lose out on the straight anyway to a car that's not in the same class, it's just not a move I would have anticipated Rob throwing this early into a 75-minute enduro. Obviously, no harm, no foul. Everybody carried on. Just one of those awkward situations that turned out all right.
Well, we talked about that Spec Boxster class. Again, only 3 drivers in there: Rob Walker, Sean O'Brien, and Tim Nagy. And Tim Nagy and Rob Walker have been kind of nose to tail pretty much this whole weekend. Well, now throw in there Sean O'Brien. Sean O'Brien's gotten around Tim Nagy early on in this race. So Tim probably taking care of that equipment, knowing we're going a lot longer than our normal sprint races. So again, it is all about taking care of the equipment. You got to take care of the tires. You got to take care of the brakes. Everything that involves in this car that you need to take care of it in order to get to that 75-minute mark.
Yeah, we did notice at the end of yesterday's races, these types of cars in particular, the non-downforce cars, the no electronic aids, these cars really did start to move around by the end of those 30 minutes and were meaningfully slower than they were at the start of the race. So you'd anticipate for the Enduro here throwing on a set of sticker tires, or at least lightly scuffed tires, whether you're on treaded or actually I don't know if any of our
I don't believe any of those are going to be
on slicks.
Well, Charles Liu and that group, they may be obviously on the slicks. Again, this group here, we've got 10 different classes.
Yeah.
So in this Enduro, not only are you really wanting to do well overall, but you are still racing in class, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a matter of winning your class, and with Charles Liu in that 79, looks like the second driver in there as we get there, after that pit stop, that's going to be Corey Freeman. And we talked about Corey pretty much all day yesterday in that 014 machine. So we're going to jump in with Mr. Liu here, and that's in the GT3 class. They're leading Steve Garrison, the only two drivers there in that class. So.
Yeah, so just to finish the point on the tires, it does take some conserving. I think will take some conserving to be comfortable at the end of the hour and 15 minutes. You do get that kind of cool down period when you choose to make your pit stop, whether you do that early or late, but obviously 2 or 3 laps back in the car, back at speed, and you'll kind of be right in that, right back at it, but with the car moving around substantially more. As far as the Charles Liu and Corey Friedman pair up at the front of the field, I do wonder here if Friedman is going to run the Enduro, the second Enduro, the yellow group Enduro, a little bit later on in his 992. And if that means maybe he'd start this one so he can participate in the later Enduro rather than getting out of a car and having to hustle to go get into whatever car he would run in the yellow Enduro.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good point. I mean, they're listed on the entry list as, both of them, but you're right. It could be that he jumps in. So maybe that is Friedman in the 079 up front here. We'll have to look and see, and maybe check in the chat to see if anybody's got an update on that. But whatever it is, whoever that driver is right now, that car is actually looking really, really strong here in that GT3 class. Eric Yortsoy's gotten around Wally Chetty in that 147 machine, so move Eric Yortsoy up into second place in that spec Cayman. Matt DiStefano has got about a 3.5 second lead right now early on. Looks like we had one car may have gone off just right there coming up the hill out of turn number 14. We'll try to get that number there. Looks like it was there, I believe. I'm not sure if that was the 556 that had that little left rear go off
I think it was Dominic Belvedere, 2 minutes 41 last time around. So that math does math. Looks like Eric Yortsoy has gotten by Chahadi in the 147.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about.
Sorry.
Yeah, we were just sitting there looking at that, and I think that was more of a product of, again, Wally backing down just a little bit from the time perspective.
Yeah.
The time's just, still pretty close to what they've been running, but I think, back down, save a little bit. This is where you get to the point of, again, only right now about 13 and a half minutes in.
Yeah.
So you got to start taking care of that equipment. And some of these drivers, they break it down into sections, right? So we're 75 minutes, they break it down when they can push the car, when they can't push the car, when they need to before they're going to pit. So again, with about 14 minutes in, the pit window should open up here in about a minute to a minute and a half. Based off of the time that we have that we're getting from the timing and scoring. So once that happens, we'll see when drivers start to come in and pit, because it's open, you can do it whatever, and that's where the strategy comes into play. Do you pit early? Do you pit late? Right? Or in some of these cases, which we've seen a lot of them, split it right down the middle.
Yeah, I've been doing some pondering.
Is that what that smoke is that's coming up here in the booth?
Correct. Either that or we have another new pope. No. The way you typically approach endurance racing pit strategy, road course racing pit strategy, let's take a look at NASCAR, right? The decision as to whether you pit early or pit late is typically made based on whether or not you're going to lose a lap. If you don't lose a lap when you pit, you want to pit early, so that if a yellow comes out, when everybody else comes in to take advantage of the yellow, right, theoretically, you cycle back through to the front, you've already made your required pit stop. Here, with a 5-minute pit stop window, or a 5-minute pit stop time minimum, you are absolutely going to lose at least one lap, probably two.
Yeah, based off the times, about two and a quarter laps is what you would think about from time.
Right. So And you're not allowed to pit under yellow. Is that correct? It's got to be a green. You've got to start.
The timing has to start before
the yellow, right? So, on the one hand, you would think, well, if you're going to lose laps, you want to pit late, right? And you want to try and take advantage of a potential yellow flag situation. And if you're really going for that absolute maximum optimization, you hope that somebody comes to a stop out on track. One of your, even if it's not a class competitor, you end up in a situation where everybody's looking around going, okay, are we going to go yellow here?
Yeah.
Is this the opportunity? You duck into the pits and you pray that race control throws that full course caution. Now all of a sudden you're sitting pretty. Everybody else is going around at reduced pace. You're knocking out your 5-minute pit stop, and you've caught that timing exactly right. That is probably the direction I'd go.
Yep.
Wait until that opportunity presents itself. The problem is, Brian, if you choose to wait that long and it's just a sudden full course yellow with no opportunity for you to duck in the pits beforehand, everybody's going to compress back together into a queue. You've got to wait until the track goes green and then take your 5-minute pit stop. Now everybody's caught, instead of being at this organic kind of, well, I've already lost the 5.5 minutes, the cars that have already pitted have gotten some of that time back relative to the race leader, relative to you in the queue. So you've got to kind of play the game. Are you more likely to get a chance to pit under yellow with pit as a yellow is being considered if something is to happen out on track? Are you going to try and take advantage of that window, or do you play it safe and say, no, you know what, I'm just going to knock the pit stop out under green, so we go around the outside there at turn number 7. We're going to take the pit stop under green, we'll just get it done, and whatever happens, happens. Or do you go for that maximum optimization? Do you go for premium efficiency and try and take advantage of a thing that may or may not happen? I think that's probably the direction I go, but again, you're taking your chances either way.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, you're right, exactly. It's always a risk no matter how you look at it. I think in some of these, you'll see some of them, go, halfway where they can, and then they pit. We've seen that. We've also seen, when we especially saw this at New Jersey about a month ago, is where we ended up where we had that full course caution. Cars stayed out, went all the way around. Once they got ready to go back to green, they took the green and they came down, and almost 90% of the field pitted right there after going back that one lap. And so you had maybe 4 or 5 cars that had already pitted on the racetrack at that time, in a 30-car field. So what ended up happening is that's where the strategy came in. We also had where we had at Watkins Glen, right? We had the unfortunate incident that we had at the bus stop where we ended up going under a red flag. A lot of them didn't. The time kind of ran down, and then some of them, they kind of reverted back, and so it became a little bit of a challenge there as to when the pits would open, when they wouldn't open, would they allow some of that time frame to be condensed under that red flag when they brought everybody down from the black flag all situation when they did. So there was a lot of different things going on there to do it. So yeah, you're right. In an endurance race, you don't know what's going to happen, and so you basically look at it from a strategy standpoint as you back the race up. You start from the end and you work your way to the front. In some cases, you referenced kind of NASCAR, right? That's the way they do it. They start from the back of the race, the ending the race, and they work their way back up to the front. In most cases, depending on which racetrack that they are on. So from a pit strategy standpoint,
and that is specifically because you don't lose a lap when you pit. It's the same thing at Pocono, right? Yep. You're not going to lose a lap pitting at Pocono because the lap's 50, high 40s, low 50 seconds. Here, you're guaranteed to lose a lap if you're at the 5-minute minimum. So, or like I said, 2 laps. So there are all kinds of little minor factors that play into it. Whether anybody gets that precise with the decision making, I guess it kind of remains to be seen. I know I would, just to kind of flex that muscle a little bit and say, okay, how are we going to really try and play this out as optimally as possible? I think I go long. The other side of that coin is, okay, if you're going to plan to go long, you top that car up full of fuel, knowing you're going to, if you have to fuel, right? That's a big if, because not every car is going to have to put fuel in. But if you have to fuel, you're running that car heavier for longer.
Correct. Yep.
Which not only is going to make the car naturally slower, because it's
heavier
heavier,
weight, right.
but you're also putting more stress on the tires. You're taking more life out of the tires, and those tires are already being asked to go 75 minutes.
Correct. Yep.
So these factors do all play in. Some of it's how well can your driver manage that circumstance. We get a move up the inside of, I think that's Rob finally getting Karen Holmes.
Yeah, I think so.
In the 36.
Yeah.
Chartreuse.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead, since we've been talking about the strategy, why don't we go ahead, we're about 20 minutes in,
Yep.
why don't we go ahead and give a little bit of rundown of where kind of everybody is in each of those classes. So we'll start out with each of those classes. We'll start out with Spec Boxer. So, again, we're on board right now with Rob Walker, coming up out of turn number 14, really getting wide there. Rob pushing it as hard as he can right now. So Rob Walker in that 111, he's going to be leading right now over Sean O'Brien. It's about a 9.5 second gap back to Sean O'Brien and then Tim Nagy. In Spec Cayman, Matt DiStefano still leading over Eric Yortsoy. That's about 5/10. So that's starting to close down. So this could be where I was talking about, Brendan, where now Eric is starting to push that car. Matt trying to just let that car relax and just get the laps in. They're leading over Wally Chetty. Michael Venable has now moved up into 4th. Tim Lampy is in 5th. Paul Van Eden 6th. Dominic Belvedere, who we saw momentarily about a couple laps ago, having that little excursion coming out of turn number 14 and up the hill. Jason Knupp in the 19 is going to be an 8th. In our H class, Rick Fisher in the 163 is leading that by about 4 seconds over Richard Eggleston in that 515. We look at SP3, Greg Rochek is leading Tanner Markup by about 20-some seconds, and then Dennis Hitzman in the 14 is going to be 3rd in that class. In I class, the 941 of John Miller. In GT4, Punchke.
Pavel Puhalski.
Yeah, is going to be leading. He's in the 240. You got me there. And then Patrick Prenay in the 5. Only 2 cars in now. We go back to 911 Cup car. The 27, Alan Wilt, is leading over Karen Holmes. That's about 14 seconds. And again, Karen's been battling with Rob Walker in that 111 machine. Dwayne Moses, Mr. Dr. Awesome, is going to be sitting in 3rd in that 641. In 3rd, we go to G class. Doug Crossman, the only driver in that class, in that 92. We talked about GT3, whether it's Corey Freeman or Charles Liu in that car in the 079, who is also your overall leader. He's leading Steve Garrison in the 427. And then in our E class, we have the 339 of Bob Danka, who is the only driver in that class. So
this is the first time we haven't seen Tim Nagy second in a Spec Boxster race this weekend, having given up that spot to Sean O'Brien. Surprising, I guess, maybe to some degree, that he's not up there battling with Rob Walker. I do wonder if there's a little bit of actively conservative driving going on there from Tim Nagy, trying to preserve the tire life in that car.
I was going to say, I mean, we're going 75 minutes with about 50-some minutes left to go. Pits are open. I haven't seen anybody come down, so I would expect within the next 5 to 10 minutes you'll start to see some drivers come down. But absolutely, Tim Nagy making those tires last as long as possible. And again, these drivers, they know the cars, they know the consistency, and just as I say that, here comes a driver up on pit lane right now.
Yep.
So
caller number 1.
Yep. We'll see where they go from there. We'll give you the number on that car when they come across the start-finish line. Looks like everybody's pit stall selection is going to be further kind of up. We'll see that car has not come by, so evidently it's on the other side of our bridge. Which
no, I think it's just that long of a run up the
there
hill.
There it is. Yeah, that's the 896. That's Tanner Market coming in here, so it looks like that car is going to start that 5-minute pit stop.
Yeah, I think it's just that long of a run up the hill, Brian. Remember, our cameras are about 2.5 seconds behind reality in total. But you're at pit speed from the time you get to that blue Armco all the way down there by the drive-over bridge, climbing the hill, until you get to where the pit stalls begin right here at 37, 38 in front of us past start-finish.
So Tanner Marcotte in the 896, our first car to take the pit to the pit lane here. Start there 5 minutes, and again, that obviously is a strategy component. Again, 50 minutes left. So, tell you what, Brendan, why don't we go ahead? We'll take our first break here. Thank some partners and sponsors, and when we come back, we'll pick up the second half of this action and see who comes on pit road next. You're watching the 2025 Road America Challenge, our Enduros today from the National Park of Speed. We'll be right back.
Pirelli and Porsche have been a winning combination around the racing world for years. Pirelli is proud to bring that relationship to PCA Club Racing yet again in 2025. Make sure to see the guys from Frisbee and find the right Pirelli tire for your vehicle, or check them out on the web at frisbeeracetire.com. Pirelli powers nothing without control. When you pack up from the raceway and head home on the highway, remember that the engineering excellence Michelin strives for in racing is applicable to our passenger and light truck tires too. Michelin is proud to continue its national sponsorship of Porsche Club of America and Club Racing. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Looking to decrease lap times on the track without an engine overhaul? GT Racing has a wide range of fiberglass and carbon fiber body panels, along with European Racing headers, exhaust systems to lighten your car and accelerate all the potential horsepower of your engine. Time for a change? Convert your 944 into a turbo or a 924 GT, or your 911 to a 911 RS, RSR, or 935. Talk with Joel at GT Racing. He'll help you choose the winning combination of lightweight Porsche parts and header systems to set you on the right track. GT Racing is your one-stop shop for your Porsche needs. GT Racing is a national sponsor and proudly sponsors tech inspections at PCA Club races. GT Racing also sponsors the Best Prepared Car Award, a $100 gift certificate at each race. Call Joel at GT Racing today at 1-800-797-2911 or find us on the web at www.gt-racing.com.
Our first club racing sponsor, Porsche Cars North America, funds the club racing news and sponsors the Workers' Choice Award, considered the most prestigious award given at a club race. Thank you to PCNA for offering vital support to our club racing program.
Welcome back here to the National Park of Speed for the 2025 Road America Challenge, coming to you from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We are here day 3. This is our Enduro. This is our purple Enduro group. We're about 30 minutes in, and as we went to break, we talked about who was going to be the first one down pit road, and that happens to be the 896 there, Tanner Marcotte, sitting on pit road, completing that 5 minutes. So we'll wait. I'm sure there will be others starting to come here now. I do believe I see one team down there that looks like they may be either doing driver change or fuel once they come in, because the team is getting ready. So we'll see who that car is going to be when they come by our front window, Brendan. So it looks like teams are starting to hit that strategy and get these pit stops moving.
Yeah, a couple of things here. First, thanks to everybody who's joined us over on YouTube this morning. 123 of you spending your Labor Day morning with us. Give us a like, smash the like button, like they say, and subscribe to the PCA channel over there as well. Not just for our live streams. We'll be live from Summit Point in about 2 weeks. Yep. The Summit Point Raceway, and all of our feature streams there as well. And also for all the great content that PCA puts out throughout the year, outside of just racing, lots of car information and event information. They do a great job. And yeah, we'd love to have you along for the ride. Sadakal Khalsa joins us in the chat, obviously supporting his buddy Rob Walker. Talk about that in just a second. Hello, Sadakal. Christoph Grosing asked about live timing. Yes, Race Monitor. Race-monitor.com or the Race Monitor app on either Android or iOS will give you all the information we have up here in the booth as well. Back to the Rob Walker situation. I think, did we just have Karen Holmes in
well,
pit
I was
lane?
going to say Karen Holmes is on pit lane right now, so that allowed Walker. Well, I'm sure he was getting to the point where he was looking at the back end of that chartreuse car. So
it takes away my next talking point, unfortunately. I should have done that before the YouTube chat, which was going to be that if you're Rob Walker, I think you probably just consider pitting and saying, well, I'm kind of done staring at the back of that number 36, to the point that, like, he's probably being held up through the twisty bits ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Now, Karen had upped the pace of that car pretty substantially into the 235s before she came into the pit lane.
Right.
So, okay, that does take some of that argument away. But if you're Rob, maybe you just say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to pit now, get the pit stop over with, hopefully come back out into some clear air, and just rip off a couple of laps. You are going to lose less time not being caught behind a non-class car. So we get another pit stop. This will be
Eric Yorksoy.
2021. and you're better off just finding yourself that clear space, pulling the laps off, and then letting the chips fall where they may afterwards.
Yeah.
But that's a non-issue now because
Yep.
36 is in.
Yeah,
And
maybe she was probably thinking the same thing, right? Maybe that team was probably, saying, "Hey, listen,
it's a
we
great
keep
point.
battling with him,
Yep.
through there. It's not going to do us any good." At the time, if we wanted to, we want to catch Alan Wilt in the 911 Cup battle, so. Bring her in. They are fueling the car. We're looking out the window here. We can see that they are putting fuel in the car right now. They did check the tire pressures already, so I'm sure they made some changes there. Karen, which is one of the things. When you put fuel in the car, the driver has to get out of the car.
we did learn that yesterday.
I
I learned that yesterday.
Yeah, so the driver has to get out of the car, so she is helping the crew with that fuel, and as soon as they are done with that, then she will get buckled back into that car and start to go. Looks like we've got some other activity coming down on pit road here. We got another car getting ready. We talked about Eric Yortsoy in there. There was another car that's behind Eric. I did not see the number of that. Here comes Greg Rocek in the 320 machine down on pit road. So, Brendan, this is where it's really going to start happening when we talk about the strategies with about 45 minutes up. So we're right around that, kind of that halfway point. Or just a little bit above that halfway point where these drivers are starting to come in and do their 5 minutes. Now, I'm looking at the window of Greg Rocek in that 320 machine. Does not look like they are doing any fuel. He is staying in the car, wiping the window down, checking the pressures on the tires, and then giving him a drink. He'll sit there for the rest of that basically 4 minutes, but not putting fuel in the car. That's the first one I've seen where they have not put fuel in the car.
Yeah, I do kind of wonder if some of these Boxsters and Caymans are fueling because they're required to. If you remember yesterday, particularly in sprint race number 1 for the Blue Group, we saw what we believed were a number of cars running out of fuel at the very end of the race.
Yep.
The word that was given to us was, well, a lot of these guys like to really play it close on their fuel numbers. And we started our white flag lap, or our 1 to go lap, with 14 seconds left on the clock. So, it was really... I'm sorry, we started 2 to go with 14 seconds left on the clock, or 14 seconds above that kind of last lap window. I wonder if they were playing it that close because they like to cut the margins razor thin, or because they kind of had to,
right?
Without having the fuel range to go as far as they needed to. That may be an issue for some of these cars. 75 minutes is kind of a long time to go in cars that are primarily built for sprint racing. On top of that, this is a circuit that you are a higher percentage of full throttle here than pretty much any racing track.
Any of the other track that we, right,
yeah,
exactly.
Never mind that we go to, but anywhere else in the country, like you are at top speed here.
Yep.
It's a beautiful weather morning. The air is cooler and denser. You're going to consume more fuel doing that, obviously going faster. I think in general there are things working against fuel consumption numbers at this track in this type of weather, and with a 75-minute enduro, I suspect that we're fueling down here for a lot of these cars specifically because they have to get through to the end of the hour and 15.
Right. Tell you what, I was watching just right there on your screen coming down in turn 5, Michael Venable in that spec Cayman leading Steve Garrison in that GT3, and then Tim Lampy right behind them. Those 3 cars kind of battling early on here. This is when you look at overall after we've had some of these pit stops, that's for 5th through 7th place right there. There's Venable coming right there. Lampy a little bit further back, but Venable and Garrison seem to be pretty evenly matched. We've got Doug Crossman now on pit road. So, again, he is going to start his 5 minutes.
Jordan, can we jump on board with Rob Walker here for a second? Okay. I saw the Chartreuse number 36 leave the pit lane and then looked over and saw Rob Walker go by in the number 111. It looks like Rob has found that clear air here. I had concerns that with that 5-minute window and
come right back in the same position.
Exactly, because the lap times are about 2:35, 2:36 in these cars.
Yeah,
double that is just over 5 minutes. You are playing with fire there a little bit. That would have been extremely unlucky.
Yeah,
but no, I think the other part of this is Rob isn't scrapping with anybody anymore, so he's more likely to be able to just put those quick times in. Last lap was down in the 2:35.7s. in that number 111 Zombie.
And
which is
neither of our
pretty
spec
close to
boxers
his
have
medium.
come down pit road yet, right? So I think
Yeah.
those are the cars that are going to be able to go the longest before they need to come down and do their 5-minute pit stop. So again, Walker could be getting probably another couple laps here before he comes in. Again, remember the pits opened 15 minutes into the start of the race, and they close with 10 minutes left to go in the race. So there's that window there that these drivers need to get there. There is the 36 right there. A little bit. There is our overall leader. I don't believe, again, not sure whether that is Freeman or Lou in the car. If Freeman is running later today, I mean, it could be. So.
He is, but also with a co-driver.
Okay.
So
he could end up finishing here and then finishing there as well. He could be
yeah, there any number of combinations
yeah,
are available.
sure.
The least likely one is that he finishes this and starts that. If he's going to finish this one, then he'll run second.
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
certainly
obviously
in the
in
next
that
one.
one. Yep.
Which actually I think is the way it's listed in the grid I was given by our timing gurus next door.
Yep.
So, yeah, it is possible that it started out as Charles Liu and it'll finish with Friedman.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he'll get a little bit of a reprieve, and then he'll come out. So now we have to start calling Corey Freeman the closer, right? Is that his nickname now? He's the closer, right? So you have that. There goes Rob Walker by the start finish line there. Looks like we had somebody may have gone off right there coming out of turn 13. You got to put the tire down there. And again, anywhere on this racetrack right now, you end up with kind of some dirt kicking up.
Yeah.
Time to go off. There goes Karen Holmes. There goes the 641 there as well.
Wayne Moses.
Yeah, Mr. Dr. Awesome, as his nickname is in our driver's bio. And again, if you're out there and you're racing and you haven't, before each event, we always have a link that goes out. Driver bios, put that information in so we can kind of talk about you a little bit. That's how we know that Mr. Moses became Dr. Awesome, because that's what he told us his nickname was.
Are we certain that was a nickname that somebody gave him over the years, or is he just Dr. Awesome?
It's
to
what
himself?
He put in there. He put nickname as
But
Dr.
there's no.
Awesome.
My point is, there's no data verification there, Brian. You can put whatever you want in that bio. If you decide that your nickname is Dr. Awesome, who are we to be able to refute that?
That is absolutely correct.
Right.
Look down through here, but yeah, he is. He filled out 2 bios for this,
so he's an overachiever.
and he has definitely done the. He's definitely done the his nickname. He put him in both of those bios. So, Dr. Awesome. So that's what I'm going with, right? That's
Sure.
because
Yep.
that's what he kind of said he wanted to be called. So we'll go with that, and we'll throw him in there as Dr. Awesome.
So we can glean a little bit of information from timing and scoring as to time loss in the pit lane. And Brian, you and I had spoken a little bit earlier this morning about where the 5 minutes begins. It should be at the beginning of pit speed and not at start finish.
It should.
I believe
and
that
it very
is.
well could, because then what that does is it actually makes your pit stop shorter technically, because of the length of it's still 5 minutes, but the less you have to sit in your stall because
correct. Yes.
of the
Because you have
length
the long
of this
transit
pit road.
time. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Yes, I'm with you there.
Yep.
My concern or my hope is that absolutely is the case, that it starts at the pit-in beam way down there at so you're still climbing the hill down near the Screaming Sicilian.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, we're seeing some lap times that are outlaps that are in the 7.25 minute range, which would be under the target of 5 minutes. If it were to start at start finish and end at pit out,
Yes.
you would be looking at a target lap time of about 7 minutes and 35 seconds, depending on your class of car. And that 7:17 that we saw from Eric Yortzey on his outlap would indicate that he was 20 minutes under the time.
Yes.
Which I suspect is not the case. So, as you say, shorter stop than you have here most other places, a shorter actual stoppage time. your transit time is still 5 minutes covered from, like we said, that pit in
From down to
way
the end
down
all the way
north
through.
end.
Yep, no, absolutely. Just a shorter time from sitting in the.
Yeah. Which, I mean, look, 5 minutes feels like a long time if, you've got all the time in the world to play with. If you're not doing anything to the car, if you're not fueling or anything, yes, it is a long time. But if you have to fuel the car, let's say you're putting in 10 gallons worth. In small jugs, that's a couple of gallons worth of fuel. You've got to get out of the car in order to do it. And then you've got to get back in and strap yourself in, get as comfortable or in the same position that you were in before. Make sure all the belts fit the same way, fits over your head and neck restraint the way that you had it the way before. Kind of, scoot yourself down in the seat. If you have to remove the wheel to get out, you've got to make sure it's all fastened and attached the way that it needs to be. There are a number of things that have to happen inside that, what is now a 4 minute and 15 second window, let's call it 4 minute 20 second window, to where you're not rushing, but you don't have a whole lot of time for things to go wrong.
Yep.
And remember, these aren't professional in most cases, not professional pit crews. None of these guys and girls are jumping over the wall for a NASCAR team or anything like that. You're meant to do things safely and take your time, but you can't mess around.
Yeah. Well, from someone who has raced enduros before, I tell you, it is very difficult to, you have your mindset, you're going to make a pit stop, you're going to be able to, that you've got to get out of the car if you're going to be fueling in there. So, again, and we've got some of these cars on pit road as well, but you're going to come in at some point in time, you're going to get out of the car, and then you got to get back in.
Yeah.
From a large person like myself, that's the reason why I stopped doing enduros, because it took forever to get in and get out.
Pain to get in and out. I believe it.
So it became very difficult, and then for me, kind of, you leave you felt like you left the team down a little bit. When you end up with a good car and not a good finish, and it really transpired on pit road, right? From a strategy standpoint, to do that. So again, we look at our spec boxers and looking at those. We'll start there. They none of those have made a pit stop, right? So Tim Nagy is a lap down now, so he may be on pit road. He may have driven by. We didn't see him as we were talking. Matt DiStefano, Wally Chetty, Michael Venable. They have not pitted. Eric Yortsoy has completed his pit stop already and is back out there. So, right as you were talking about, Brendan, it is right around that 2.5 lap that you lose in the pits. Again, some of these other cars, the number 5 car is down here on pit road as well, Patrick Prenay. So, again, that's GT4 car. We saw Alan Wilt. He is in almost pretty much completed his pit stop. They've already done fuel. He's already back in the car and buckled in, so just waiting for that time to go through.
The good news here is that while we don't get indicators or tracking of who has made their pit stops, anybody that's 2 laps or more off of their class lead, you can reliably assume
that they've already made their pit stop.
Yep, exactly, absolutely. Right? So in spec came in Paul Van Eden in P8 all the way up to what appears to be Tim Lambie in the number 39. I think you can comfortably make a case have made their pit stop. So about half of our spec came in field. Spec boxer, like you said, none out of the 3. Patrick Perronnet in GT4 has clearly made a stop. Karen Holmes, we know in 911 Cup because we saw it. But it provides some a good reference point if you're trying to, let's say, dissect where things stand in terms of strategy, and it'll really help us later on when we get an extra 10 or so cars starting our yellow group enduro.
Our 911 Cup cars, it looks like Dwayne Moses and Ziggy Meisner's the only 2 cars that haven't pitted again. Alan Wilt just took off. We saw Karen Holmes pitting earlier. The 163 Rick Fisher, that's in an H-class car. He also is just now leaving pit road, so finishing up that. Looks like the 14 now is getting ready. Dennis Hiffman getting ready to go out. We've already seen Greg Rochick and Tanner Marka pit earlier. So, again, looks like here comes Charles Liu in the 079 or Corey Freeman, whichever one you want to. you want to say, but I do believe that
Yeah.
is Charles Lewin, that 079.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. At something less than 35 miles an hour, I think the pit speed here is 35.
Yep.
Which is intriguing because that will mess up your calculations.
Sure.
And again, we don't need to be so precise here that we're timing everything to the second. You want to because
That's when
we're racing drivers and we're competitive, right?
Yeah.
But not doing the pit speed limit, whatever your calculation is based on, if you're less than that, now you're kind of guessing as to what your minimum stopped time has to be.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that can cost you time.
Yep. Sitting here looking at, out the window here, and Dwayne Moses getting out of the car and climbing back over the pit wall, come up, get a little bit of a refreshment as his team member goes in. Looks like they are going to put some fuel in that car. Watching Dwayne get out of that. Dwayne's a pretty tall guy, so in an enduro, it's very, very tough to get in and out of these Porsches, especially in these 911 Cup cars. When you are and looking out the window here, Dwayne, look, he's probably in that 6'5" range.
Yeah.
So that is very tough getting in and out of that car. So Dr. Awesome struggling a little bit getting out of that car.
These older Porsches in particular have they have a very low profile, and so I mean squeezing in and out of some of these like 964s, 993s is not the work of a moment.
Sure.
So we do have a little bit of information available to us here on the back end. It actually just scrolled through our timing pylon down the left side of the screen. This gap to leader function. And the way that we calculate that is the amount of time differential it takes you to complete the equivalent lap. So let's say you're on lap number 14. You've already made your pit stop. The race leader hasn't. Race leader goes through and completes lap number 14. How much later do you complete your lap number 14? If you've made your pit stop, that differential should be a little bit less than 5 minutes.
Sure.
Call it 4:40-ish, right? Yes, okay, you have your 5-minute transit time, but it still takes the cars on track time to go from that place down at the north end to the pit out lane, beam the pit out lane down at the south end. Let's call that 18 seconds it takes you to come up the front straightaway, whatever it happens to be. So you're looking for a target of about 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Comparing the time differential gap to leader we have, compared to that number of 4 minutes and 40 seconds, we can kind of recreate the race, assuming that everybody's doing the 5-minute minimum. And what it's showing is that things aren't being decided as decisively as maybe we would have expected 45 minutes into this thing.
Sure.
Eric Yortsoy has completed a stop. Leader Matt DiStefano hasn't. The margin there is 5 minutes and 7 seconds. So we're going to be within 15 seconds or so when DiStefano comes in and makes a stop. Tanner Market was 4 minutes and I think it was 20 or 25 seconds behind Greg Rojic. Rojic has made his stop, and that margin is now 56 seconds. So
Tanner Market has made his pit stop as well. He was the second one to come, or actually the first one to come down pit road.
And Rojic was, we already saw Rojic in, right?
He came in, all three of those SP3
So that has cycled back through. Rick Fisher in the H class, 5 minutes and 23 seconds behind Richard Eggleston. That is going to play out to be about a 20 or so second margin, 20 or 30 second margin. So plenty to play with there as well.
And Eggleston is on pit road right now.
Yep.
So.
And the one that really intrigues me, Brian, is in 911 Cup, Dwayne Moses and Alan Wilt. That's first back to third. That time differential, 4 minutes, 44.9 seconds.
And Moses is getting back in the car right now, so they're going to wrap up theirs. Wilt has already pitted and completed his stop. Brendan, why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead? We're coming up on that 25-minute mark here. Why don't we go ahead and we make our first call to the next for the next group for that yellow Enduro to get them kind of moving, get them going to start coming up into the grid, and then we'll take a break and we'll come back and pick up the last couple of minutes. Attention in the paddock, attention in the paddock. First call, Yellow Enduro Group. Yellow Enduro Group, this is your first call to the grid for your Enduro. First call, Yellow Group, to the grid, please. With that, let's go ahead. We'll take our break. Thank some partners and sponsors. We'll come back. We'll finish up the last 20 minutes of this race here. You're watching the 2025 Road America Challenge from the National Park of Speed here at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We'll be right back.
Kurt at Kurt's German Auto Works has over 35 years in the Porsche dealer network and over 13 years in his own shop. He enjoys caring for all Porsches and looks forward to meeting you and your car. He's located down in Homer Glen, Illinois, 30 miles southwest of Chicago. For more information, go to Kurt's homepage. It's Kurt's with an S, Kurt'sGermanAutoWorks.com.
Get ready for Rocky Mountain Thunder, the PCA race at High Plains Raceway in Colorado on September 20th and 21st. Rocky Mountain Region hosted the very first PCA club race in 1992 at Second Creek Racetrack, and the members of the Rocky Mountain Region take pride in this historic event. The region has run the race at Second Creek, at Pueblo Motorsports Park, and now at High Plains Raceway. This race will earn points towards the 2025 Mid-America Series, the 2025 West Coast Series, as well as the 2025 PCA National Championship Points Series. The race weekend will feature two 30-minute sprint races on Saturday and a 65-minute endurance race on Sunday. Registration can be found at clubregistration.net.
Golden Gate Region will be hosting the third Thunderhill race of the season on September 13th and 14th. This event will include 3 sprint races on the 3-mile East course. Thunderhill Raceway provides some of the best racing around and is where many pro teams come to practice due to the many diverse corners around the track. After the summer heat, the weather in September should be perfect. This event will be a points race for the West Coast Series and the 911 Cup Trophy, along with standard points for the National Championship. The event is just for racers, though. There will also be run groups for HPDE and time trials. Visit clubregistration.net for more details and to register.
Welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2025 Road America Challenge. It is day 3 here from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And I tell you what, this is our Enduro. This is our purple group with about 23 minutes left to go. Looks like most of our drivers have made their pit stops or are on pit lane right now, finishing up their 5 minutes. We talked about Patrick Pillay. He's on pit road now, so he's finishing that up. We looked at just a little bit behind him, Steve Garrison in that 427, finishing up that pit stop there. It looks like Steve's getting buckled back in the car. I did not see if they took fuel or not, Brendan, but Steve getting back buckled in. So I would assume that they definitely took fuel if he's getting back in.
Yeah, I would say you wouldn't just get out of the car to get out of the car and stretch your legs.
I would, but
Would you?
yeah, I would.
Enough. Yeah.
But we just talked about me whether or not I can't get in or get
Yeah.
out so very quickly. So one of the things that we talked about again, Steve Garrison on pit road now, but 2 drivers here that have not, and you talked about it here a couple minutes ago, Matt DiStefano and Wally Chetty, they have yet to pit.
Yeah.
And again, so with 22 minutes left, they've got about 12 minutes before they have to come in. This could be where the strategy, they come right at the very end, get that 5 minutes in, and then not have to make up a whole lot of time and get a good run here, probably for the last 15 minutes of the race.
Now, do you need to be out of the pits when you hit 10 minutes, or do you have to start your stop with 10 minutes left?
I believe when the pit road closes, you already have to have made your pit stop. When I'm looking here at the rules, it does not say that. We'll have to get clarification, but I do believe that once the pit road, you cannot be there. Now you can pit, within that time frame, but that does not count towards
you have to be
your
out,
5 minutes.
If you have to be out at 10 minutes, functionally, the pit road entry closes at 15.
Yeah.
Functionally.
Functionally.
Right.
But I think you have to be on pit road before that 10-minute that window. And I think you can sit on pit road in your 5 minutes after that. So once the...
Interesting. Okay. Somebody may be able to correct us on that. It's not something, I don't think it's come up this year at any point.
I think everybody's, from all the ones that we've covered, they've already gotten in and done.
And maybe the Glen.
like I said, we had one where we went right down to the very end, and that was our very first race in January. And we were at Sebring. We had somebody come in with 11 minutes to go, and they only had to go 3 laps after that. So there was just enough to get it in and get it going.
FLP, CLP. in the chat says you cannot start your pit stop in the last 10 minutes.
So you can come in with 10 minutes and 30 seconds left and sit on pit road for your 5 minutes and be good.
Correct. Come out,
okay.
do 2 laps, and take the checkered flag. And
Yep.
you're done. Right.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good. Okay. That's what I thought. That's why, like, again, once the pit road closes, you can't come in unless it's absolutely necessary for you to do, but it does not count towards your 5 minutes. So as long as you're on pit road before that actual thing closes, and here comes Matt DiStefano right now. So again, with 19 minutes, he's going to sit there for 5 minutes. So he's only going to end up with about 14 minutes of runtime after he's done.
Jihadi's in as well.
Yep. Well, that is actually a 441 there. So that is that's Sean O'Brien, and I think he had already made his pit stop, or that was his pit stop. Well, he may have served a penalty for that, because that is where it is. Yep. So
Shahadi is also in. So the car I saw entering the pit lane was the 147. We caught it on camera just a moment ago. So that answers that question. Actually pitted front to back with race leader Matt DiStefano down there.
Well, I think they're all under the same tent, same umbrella, so they're all kind of
that makes sense.
Kind of in there. Yep. So both crew, all the crews taking care of both of those cars. But Sean O'Brien having that penalty, so Sean O'Brien coming in for that stop and go.
Yeah, it's not so much the stop that really ruins your day when you have to serve a black flag here at Road America. It's that time suck of a transition up the pit lane at 35 miles an hour.
Yep.
That really kind of kills your chances.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, when we saw it at New Jersey, if you got that time penalty, there it wasn't a whole lot, because it's not as long as it is here, right? It's very small. Or, when you go to, say, Sebring, that pit road is not as long as it is here either. This is one of the worst ones. You don't want to get that penalty.
So we obviously, at Driver's Eye Live here, cover a lot of endurance racing, particularly with our partners over at the World Racing League, where I'm sure many or some at least of our drivers and spectators here follow along as well. There is a spectrum of how important pit strategy is and getting it right can be. We go to Barber Motorsports Park down in Alabama, where they use code 35. So if you're out on track or you're in the pit lane, you're doing exactly the same speed. And there you have a lot more flexibility in your pit strategy, because it doesn't demand that you get it right all of the time.
Right.
A place like here, making an extra pit stop is hugely significant. And Brian, we point out the window, that is Rob Walker having made a stop at Black Flag.
Yep. So again, Rob Walker going down through the penalty area, basically going to that stop and go. Now he's going to do it, and he had a pretty good, comfortable lead. We'll have to find out where Tim Nagy is.
That evaporates in a hurry.
Yeah.
Well, I say that, Brian, the benefit is that Sean O'Brien, who was in second place in class, was the other car who got a penalty, right? In that 441.
Yeah, so you're going to move him back down. Now Tim Nagy is about 26 seconds behind Rob Walker again. There goes Nagy right down into turn one.
So Rob's hung on here.
Just right out in front. As a matter of fact, I believe...
That's Rob there, I think. Or is that...
No, that's not Rob.
Is that Tim?
Is this Rob,
no,
the second
here.
car right here? And
yes,
there's Tim Nagy right there. So, again, that 26-second lead has now evaporated down to about 5 seconds. And, again, Nagy's going to have a little bit more momentum coming down through there. So we'll have to see how quickly, again, these two drivers, even during our sprint races, they were kind of nose to tail going through. Rob Walker just getting in front of Dwayne Moses in that 64. Here comes Nagy now. He's going to be behind, I believe that is the 551 their machine. So that's Richard Eggleston as they went down through turn 5 and up over the hill.
Tim's got a little urgency there. Fill in the mirrors of that number 551, kind of moving around in the braking zone. It followed him down the middle of the track, and then popped out to driver's right to try and open up corner exit. I think he knows there's maybe a little bit of a chance here with Rob having had to serve that penalty. Now, Rob has been quicker most of the weekend, not by much. They've scrapped. I mean, most of that race yesterday morning was really, really intense between those two.
Yeah.
But still here with that chance, you take the opportunity, man. Push. put a couple of laps in, see if you can get yourself back up to the back of Zombie up there.
Well, we've talked about Tim Nagy and his his livery there. I'm sure when Eccleston looks in the rearview mirror, he has a flashback back to the 70s and 80s,
right.
thinking about, oh, here comes the Partridge family, right? Do I let them go by, or
Yes.
do I sit there and hold them up? So.
Sadako Kalsa in the chat says, Rob keeping it interesting like NASCAR stage breaks. Yeah, noted public entertainer Rob Walker.
That's it, right?
Definitely has the personality for that. I finally got more than 10 words out of him last weekend at Laguna Seca. It was like I was meeting a new human. Unbelievable. Under that 15-minute window here, Brian, I think we've had just about everybody make that stop. Matt DiStefano is actively in the pit lane. We know same for Leah Chahadi in the 147, and that'll cycle Charles Liu and Corey Friedman, that 079, back to the front.
Yeah, I think everybody has made their pit stops. Chetty and DiStefano, they're gone now, so they've already done it.
They just haven't come back through start finish.
Right. Bob Danko is the only one still sitting on pit road, but again, Bob Danko is the only one in that class, in E class, so he can sit there for the extended 5 minutes if he wanted to, right? There's nobody else in that class. As long as he makes that 5 minutes, he's definitely going to, hopefully pick up the win there in that class here. I tell you what, Brendan, let's go ahead and make our second call for our next group for our yellow Enduro. Attention in the paddock, yellow Enduro group. This is your second call to the grid, please. Yellow Enduro group, second call to the grid. Bob Danko just now leaving pit road again, so let's see if we can, tell you what, let's do a little quick rundown because, as we were talking about, some of these battles are starting to heat up a little bit, especially in our spec boxer, Rob Walker now, where he had that 26-second lead over Tim Nagy. Now that's 10 seconds. So we saw that on the camera right when they came out over Sean O'Brien. In Spec Cayman, I believe all of our drivers have definitely made it down pit road. Matt DiStefano leading over Waleed Chetty. That gap is about 24 seconds. And then you got Eric Yortsoy in third, Paul Van Eden in fourth. We look at our H class here. Richard Eggleston, we were just talking about him. In that 5:15, he is leading over Rick Fisher. Both of those drivers have definitely made their pit stop. They were in. Rick Fisher was in early. Richard Eggleston just finished that up about a minute and a half ago. In SP3, Greg Rochick and then Tanner Marcotte in that 896 leading Dennis Siffman. John Miller in our I class in that 941. We look at the 911 Cup, and here's kind of a pretty big change here right now. Is that Karen Holmes, Dwayne Moses, they've just finished their pit stops not that long ago. Karen Holmes back on top in that 911 over Dwayne Moses. Then you got Siggy Meisner in that 760. Alan Wilt, and we're going to have to check on this. I'm not sure if Alan Wilt is off somewhere because he is now 2 laps down, and he finished his pit stop right after Karen Holmes did. So we're going to have to check on that. Karen Holmes leading Dwayne Moses by about 7 seconds there. So we'll have to check for that yellow number 27.
Yeah, Alan Wilt, his last lap was a 240.9, which doesn't suggest an in-lap. Right, if you do, I'm not saying you have, if you have to, you do have to transit to the end of the pit lane to make the right-hand turn into the paddock. Right, you have to come all the way down the pit lane, then make the right-hand turn.
Unless he went off down in turn 5 and took the shortcut through.
So that's going to be my point,
yeah,
right?
Okay.
Is we didn't see that happen, and on timing, it's not suggestive of somebody that did 35 miles an hour for half of the front straightaway, right? So he definitely didn't come into the paddock through the pit lane. It is possible he went straight on at turn 5 and went into the paddock that way, or he stopped out somewhere on course, which we obviously haven't had eyes on. We haven't even seen a yellow flag to suggest that he's pulled off somewhere.
Well, I know his pit crew is just off to the left of us here across the start-finish line. We can see them standing there. I'm not sure if those speakers are working right there or not, but if they can hear us down there, give us a wave if they know where he is, because we're not seeing him on the camera, and I would assume that he would have come back around through that turn 5 because, like you said, Brendan, I did not see him come up the pit road a second time.
Yeah. Karen Holmes' Dwayne Moses battle is not settled yet, Brian. We've got 10.5 minutes left on the clock. Holmes in the 36, Chartreuse 911. 7.4 seconds is the margin back to the 641 of Dwayne Moses. And Moses was over a second quicker last time around. Now, we don't have 7 laps left in us here. It's probably going to be closer to about 5. I am curious to see how this pans out here, because it's not going to take very many slower laps for Holmes for Moses to get right up to the back of that number 36. Holmes has had good pace. I mean, she didn't end up in the lead after the pit stop rotation just by luck.
Sure.
PB is a 2:35.3, but again, we're at the end of a 75-minute enduro. If the tires have gone away, if the handling's gone away, the balance has changed on that number 36 car for Karen, then yeah, maybe this is Dwayne's opportunity to go get up there.
Well, she just went by the start-finish line. Here comes Dwayne Moses kind of up the hill here, getting ready to cross the start-finish line. We'll see what that gap is now. That gap is 7.3 seconds.
Moses
so
puts in a
about 10.
PB on lap 23, Brian. 2:35.640. It's the best Dwayne has done all race. I was going to make the point that Karen had answered Dwayne's pace from last lap by doing a 2:35.7 of her own. Dwayne goes even quicker. Not enough. A tenth isn't going to be enough,
nope,
but it's better than losing time. And if anything else, it's a statement.
Correct.
Like, you know what? I'm going to go get it. I'm going to push a little harder, see what I can get out of this, and maybe it comes to me. It also might not, but that is a really, really impressive either way from Dwayne.
Absolutely.
Tanner Market also puts in a PB late, up in SP3, 2:35 flat. Some of that will be the fuel level burning off and coming down to the end of our expected distance today. That'll definitely help, but still, 23 laps on a set of tires here is not. You're not messing around with that. Matt DiStefano pulls away a little bit up in Spec Cayman. The margin's out up to 13 seconds between himself and Eric Yortsoy in the 321. A little bit left to play with between Tim Lambie and Dominic Belvedere in the battle for the bottom end of the top 5 here. 3.7 seconds of margin between the 39 and the 556. I think we saw them tied together at the end of yesterday, too.
Yeah, and I was going to say, you make a good point, 20 some laps, on these tires. This track and the 19 car coming down pit road again, but this track does chew up a little bit on tires, after that. So you do get a little bit of tire degradation, not a lot, not as much as you would say, really at a, really at like Sebring or a Jersey in some of those aspects of it, even though they just did the repave there a couple years ago. But tires, tend to fall off there quite a bit as the longer we go because of the shortness of the track compared to here. And, there's a lot of more twisty turns than there is.
Yeah, it's easy to forget here. I mean, the pavement's already pretty faded and pale, but we just did a repave up, a full circuit repave here 3 years ago. Oh, there's Karen Holmes caught up in some traffic.
And there's Rob Walker again. So those two. I was just pointing to the screen here going, well, here we go again, right?
But this is the sort of thing that can really hamper Karen's pace here. If Rob is able to sneak by and then, kind of hold her up in some places that aren't obvious passing opportunities, not intentionally, just by the dynamic of the race, that can allow Dwayne to continue to close that margin down.
It's now down to 4.2 seconds, 4.3. So again, you've got to make sure that in this case, and we're going back on board with Rob Walker here, you can see Karen, she's just in front of Tanner Marcotte, so she got in front of him as well as they come down through turn number 3 here, get ready to head down that long straightaway here, downhill once you get to the Sargento Bridge. Again, Moses is coming, right? Moses is there. Moses is coming. This is where she's going to pull away from Marcotte. But again, as we get to the technical part of this, down here into turn 5, 6, 7, really down into 8, this is where Moses, because here he comes. He's just now topping that hill. Now, he's got to go through Marcotte and Rob Walker as well if he wants to catch her, because she is in front. I don't believe those cars will catch her at the pace they were doing earlier on.
Moses picked up 3 seconds
Yeah,
while Karen was caught up in traffic.
So again, that's where, when they came out of 14, they came by the start-finish line. Those three were battling. So that's where he made that gap. Let's see at the end of this, how much does he close in to that? Because again, with about 5 minutes left to go here, and we'll make our final call to the grid here in a couple seconds, but how well he's going to be able to, or how much of a gain he's going to get even more as we go through the carousel.
Now, just don't forget that Dwayne's going to have to deal with the same traffic that Karen just did.
Well, that's why I said it's going to depend on how quickly he can get by Walker and Market if he catches them, and where does he catch them.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and make that call to the grid real quick here.
Tension in the paddock, tension in the paddock. Yellow Enduro Group, Yellow Enduro Group. This is your final call to the grid. Yellow Enduro Group, this is your final call to the grid. You are scheduled to be on track in about 15 minutes.
Up in Spec Cayman, battle for 5th position. That has gone the way of Dominic Belvedere. Caught and passed the number 39 of Tim Lambie late in the running here with about, let's call it 3 or 4 laps to go. So that's probably done and dusted here, which leaves us watching this Holmes and Moses battle for the win in 911 Cup. I think Moses should be able to get that 944 headed up the hill here on the front straightaway. 911 Cups really pull up the front straight well.
Karen Holmes now is battling up with John Miller, and that 941 is their side by side. Miller gives way, she gets in front. But again, as we've been talking about, Moses, he's going to have to go through that same traffic. Where is he going to catch him? He's going to catch Tanner Market going into turn 1. That's actually really going to slow him up that much as they come down the hill out of turn 2. And they start to head into turn 3. We'll see whether or not he's able to get by Market, or does Market still there. It's about a car length and a half. So Moses not really gaining that. And then now you've got Market and you've got John Miller. They started to go side by side, but Miller pulled away down that long straightaway down under the Sargento Bridge and into turn number 5.
Dwayne Moses, let me make sure I validate this data. Dwayne Moses is running his fastest laps of the weekend at the end of a 75-minute enduro on Go Home Day.
Well, see, maybe he needs those extra minutes, right? He's not.
I mean, there is something to be said for.
Too short.
There is something to be said for. Well, now I've got all this extra track time. I feel more comfortable. I've gotten to practice. I've been able to fine-tune those braking points. He's gotten by most of the traffic here. It's now just Rob Walker. He's going to have to. Deal with. Now Rob is the meat in the 911 Cup sandwich. Karen's a little bit wide out there in turn number 8.
And again, really starting to, and again, this could be where a product of, we've been talking about it pretty much the entire race here. You've got to take care of the tires. Neither one of them changed tires. They just added fuel. So if she really pushed it hard early on, when she was battling with Rob Walker earlier in the race at the very beginning, maybe those tires are starting to really wear out a little bit. And now Moses, where he took care, because remember, there was about a 20 to 30-second gap between both of them, because at the time you had Alan Wilt, who was leading that 911 Cup battle early on. So now it's going to come down to Karen Holmes and Dwayne Moses.
Yeah, Rob Walker in that number 111. Last lap was 236.3. Both of our 911 Cup protagonists here, Karen Holmes and Dwayne Moses, lapping in the 234s and 235s. And I think that's probably just enough to allow the 911 Cup cars to get that separation from Rob to where he's not passing and then being repassed up the straightaways. Dwayne should get a pretty good pull here up the front straightaway, get into the slipstream of the number 111, which is going to benefit him, actually.
Well, I tell you what, Dwayne Moses last time, the lap before, went his personal best at a 234.691.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just went 234.722. He's gained 0.6 of a second, almost 0.7 of a second on Karen Holmes. Yeah. So you can see that, Karen Holmes up there. Moses has yet to clear Rob Walker. We'll see whether or not Rob Walker is going to allow him to get by at some point. And there it is. Moses is going to push the issue there.
It's the first time I've seen somebody outbrake Rob Walker this weekend.
Yeah, and Rob Walker not wanting to give that position up overall, and now he's going to drag race him down in a turn number 4 and then into turn 5. I do believe Moses should pull away. I wouldn't be surprised if Walker,
not as much as I would have thought
doesn't
here.
Pull over to driver's right when we get down in here to the end and get right in behind him. Make that. make that move.
No, Rob's
He's going to outbreak him. Yeah, he's going to definitely force that issue. Not wanting to give over that overall position, right? That's 12th and 13th. So Rob Walker pushing it was definitely able to outbreak him. That Spec Cayman over that 911 Cup car.
This is where the challenges that Karen Holmes has had with trying to clear Rob Walker kind of come back to her benefit. Okay, she got past him and is able to gap him by 15 or so car lengths, 20 car lengths. Dwayne Moses is now dealing with what Karen has had to deal with basically the entire weekend.
Yeah, well, the next time they come by, it's going to be one lap to go. So Corey Freeman and Charles Liu, they're working up on their last lap. Matt DiStefano's already gone by the stop-finish line, so they're getting their last lap. Eric Yortsoy, Wally Chetty should be coming up next to pick up with one to go, along with Steve Garrison and then Paul Van Eden. That's your top 6 overall. So everybody will be getting the one to go. So where we've been watching this battle with Karen Holmes, Dwayne Moses, Rob Walker, and again, we're going to go side by side down here in the Canada corner. I tell you what, Brendan, Walker's got to decide, or Moses has got to decide, where does he want to pass him? Because when they come back up through here, it's going to be one to go. They're going to have to get it done.
I got to be honest with you. I don't think it's a matter of where does he want to pass him. I think it's where can he pass him. Where is that 911 Cup car obviously quicker than Rob? I don't think he's been held up through most of the second half of this lap, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a time here that's into the 36s for Dwayne Moses. Gets a good pull up the front straightaway and theoretically should be able to clear him by turn 5, but I think the damage will have been done here.
He's just passing him right here going by the start-finish line.
Fair play to Karen Holmes, who answers those 34s from Dwayne Moses with a 34 of her own.
Yes.
A 2:34.867. I'll tell you what, Brian, as we get ready to come to the checkered flag here, just to put a period on this weekend for Karen Holmes. Started the weekend off on camera with a giant trail of oil being left from turn 1 to turn 3, shut down an entire qualifying session as checkered flag flies, and is going to come home with an Enduro win, 75 minutes, hard fought with a personal best on the second to last lap. It's a remarkable recovery.
Yep.
Checkered flag is in the air, Brian.
Yeah, so it looks like, again, some of our drivers have started to take that checker flag. We are down to the very end here. We'll give you kind of the rundown of where everybody is, but I definitely want to go back and see whether or not Moses is going to be able to run down Karen Holmes based off of the times that she put down. I don't believe that's going to happen right now as they come up the hill out of turn number 6 down into turn number 7.
Karen's slowing.
She is pulled off. She has pulled off in turn number 6 down into turn number 7. So again, Karen Holmes again with another issue. Not only at the beginning of the weekend, I think you just put the curse on her when you said that right there at the end. So now Moses is going to move up ahead. So it looks like if he can complete this final lap, he will pick up the win in the 911 Cup class as they go through the carousel and head down towards the kink. Again, the minute she came up out of turn number 6, pulled off to driver's right immediately in between turn 6 and turn 7. So again, another race that unfortunately is going to end for one of our drivers where they intend, they have the lead. They're just pushing it based off the last times. And, one of the things we've always said again here, Brendan, is they always go faster right before something happens. And her last lap there was that 2:34. 867, kind of matching Dwayne Moses, and then unfortunately pulled off there in between turn 6 and turn 7.
I shouldn't have said anything, but I did notice as soon as they crested the hill there at turn 6, I kind of said, Dwayne's caught up more than I thought he would in 5 turns. And I don't know if maybe that car stumbled and ran out of fuel because, we've been pushing the margins awfully close here all weekend.
Well, they put fuel in it during their stop. So
that's true. She was out of the car.
Yeah, so it's definitely not a fueling issue.
Yeah.
And there goes Moses there. He's kind of
unbelievable.
That's kind of our last couple of cars. So let's go ahead. We'll give you the rundown by class here, and then we'll take our break and we'll come back for our next group when they come back out. So in Spec Boxster, Rob Walker picks up the win over Tim Nagy. To to finish. He finished second, Tim Nagy, and then Sean O'Brien's going to finish third. In spec came in Matt DiStefano in the 93. He's going to pick up over Eric Yortsoy in second, and then Wally Chetty's going to finish in third with Paul Van Eden in fourth. In our age class, Richard Eggleston in the 515 is going to pick up the win there over the 163 of Rick Fisher. In SP3, Greg Rochick is going to pick up that win over Tanner Marca with that margin of about right around that minute. Again, Tanner was the very first driver to get on the pit lane. Dennis Hiffman is going to finish third. John Miller is going to win the I class in there. In 911 Cups, what we were just talking about, Dwayne Mose is going to pick up that win over Siggy Meisner in that 760. Karen Holmes is going to end up finishing in third, sitting down there in between turn 6 and turn 7. You can see that on your screen right now. Alan Wilt only completing 19 laps, who was your early leader. He's going to finish fourth. Doug Crossman in the G class is going to pick up the win there. In GT3, we have Charles Liu and Corey Freeman going to pick up the win over Steve Garrison in that 427. And in our E-Class, the 339 of Bob Danko, only driver in that class, going to pick up that win there. So that's going to wrap up our Purple Enduro group for today, day 3 here at the 2025 Road America Challenge. We're going to go ahead and we're going to thank some partners and sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to start our Yellow Enduro group, and they're as well going to go 75 minutes. We'll be right back.
At Hankook Tire, we strive to create a universal moment when the car and driver become one. Our aim is to develop a safer, more pleasant, and more comfortable driving experience from the moment the driver turns on the engine. Through strong braking power, smooth handling, driving comfort, and guaranteed safety, Hankook products deliver an authentic driving experience beyond mobility. Our tires provide total control of speed and direction while ensuring safety and comfort on the road. Embrace driving emotion and embrace the feel and excitement of being behind the wheel with Hankook Tire. Hankook competition tires are the perfect match of performance and longevity. Visit hankookmotorsports.com to buy today.
OG Racing has been a national sponsor of PCA Club Racing since 1998. Headquartered in Sterling, Virginia, and staffed by PCA members and club racers, OG Racing has always carried the industry's best in racing safety equipment and performance parts. The best products from manufacturers like Sparco, OMP, Alpine Stars, helmets from Bell, Stilo, Rue, brake pads from Performance Friction, Paget, and Hawk, just to name a few, and are always in stock and ready to ship from their 12,000 square foot warehouse. Give OG Racing a call or visit them at www.ogracing.com and sign up for their newsletter.
We're not just a one-off experience, we're a call to freedom. We're a place in people's minds where everyone can unleash their wild side with a passport to a world of possibilities, a spirit that breaks all the rules, uniting the famously bold and spirited essence of tequila from Mexico with the much-loved richness of peanut butter. Manabal is the bold embodiment of the party animal within us all. Here is where the ethics starts. Tequila can be purchased nationwide at manabaltequila.com.
Club Reg is a supporter of PCA Club Racing and the provider of all registration for each of our races. ClubRegistration.net is a unique service because we put all of our customers first. You can use our services for free or with a small credit card handling fee. How can you go wrong? Included with both are custom solutions tailored to meet your needs. Find out more information at ClubRegistration.net.
Far and Swit Watches is a proud sponsor of Porsche Club of America's Track Days. Looking for something to wear on your wrist and time your laps? The Illinois-based brand hand-assembles bold, retro-inspired timepieces in the Midwest. From cassette-themed digitals and solar-powered 80s designs to rugged Swiss automatic adventure watches, its collection celebrates nostalgia and sparks conversation. Committed to quality and distinctive style, Far and Swit crafts watches as unique as the people who wear them. Visit www.farandswit.com and use code PCA10 for 10% off your entire order. That's FARRAMDSWIT.com.
Come join racers, sponsors, spectators, and volunteers at this year's Rock the Summit, September 12th through 14th. Rock the Summit is the club race for PCA Potomac's Founders Region, and at 34 years, it's the longest-running PCA race in the nation. Beyond the high-energy racing, join us for live music, a barbecue dinner, roaming beer carts during happy hours, and some other treats as well. Our 100-plus highly committed volunteers are ready to make the race weekend the best you'll ever experience, whether you're a racer, spectator, or sponsor. See you at Rock the Summit 2025.
The Carrera of the Americas on November 22nd and 23rd at COTA in Austin, Texas, is the final PCA Club race of the 2025 season. Hosted by the Hill Country, Lone Star, and Maverick regions, the Circuit of the Americas, a Formula One venue, is a 3.4-mile, 20-turn track and is one of the most challenging in the United States. There will be 2 race groups contesting for the final season points toward the 2025 PCA Club Racing National Point Series and the 2025 Mid-America Championship Series. This event is limited to just 100 racers. To market calendars for registration open October 6th at clubregistration.net.
Welcome back to day 3 here from the 2025 Road America Challenge, the National Park of Speed. And Brendan, this is where it all comes down. Our last Enduro and our last club race of the weekend here. This is another 75-minute Enduro. And in this one here, we can see that we have a lot of drivers that will be making some driver changes, which is going to really add to the strategy and the complexity of this race. So, again, looks like we may end up having about 40 cars strong.
Yeah, that's a more intriguing part, Brian. You say there are a lot of drivers making driver changes. There are 3.
That's a lot.
I can count them on one hand. It is more than we had in the last one. Bob Mueller is going to be sharing with Kevin Roush, so no 960 today. The 999 is going to be split between Stafford and Corey Friedman, and William Oliver and David Murray are going to be sharing the 058. So cool to see David out on track in one of our Enduros. This Enduro, once again, presented by Pirelli. These field 40-something, or just about 40 cars strong, will line up behind the Porsche Exchange safety car. Many thanks to Porsche Exchange of Highland Park, not only for their platinum sponsorship, but for once again providing us with this weekend's pace car. Feel free to shop Porsche Exchange.
You can. They're not there anymore. They're gone.
Full slate of Porsche branded and Porsche design apparel and other things out at the tent there. I'm sure you can shop online there as well. Porsche Exchange thanks you for your support and wishes you a safe and fun remainder of your track weekend. The field, 20 rows strong, begins with Bob Mueller in that number 28 Manibal Tequila sponsored 991 GT3R on the pole position. P2, outside of the front row, Rene Robichaud, just like it's been all weekend in the GTA 4, entered number 91. Corey Friedman in the 991 GT3 Cup, number 14, starts alongside John Getz in the number 57 992 Cup. P5 is Griffin Fuji alongside Philip Leha, that is GTC 8 and GTC 7 respectively. Joseph Viola inside of row number 4, the GTC 8 number 62, alongside Greg Esikoff in the GTA 3 991.2 GT3 Cup. P9 is Cliff Kayer in the number 8 991.2 Cup alongside another 992 Cup. It's Troy Peterson in the 272. Nick Plasenik in the 991.2 Cup, a GTC 7 competitor right behind Cliff Kayer there, alongside Rick Stafford and Corey Friedman, allegedly sharing that car. I guess that'll probably be right, so maybe we don't have the 14 out there. In any case, that 999 GTC 8 car starting behind Peterson on row number 6. It's a 992 Cup. Russell Farhang in another 992 in the number 412. P13 alongside Woody Witchard in the number 212, part of a great battle at the end of yesterday's 30-minute sprint, the afternoon sprint, such as it was. P15 is Tom Burke in the number 77. That is, remember, the car that won the middle sprint race yesterday. So that was our green group, or sorry, our blue group. That is your P15 starter. P16 is William Oliver in the number 58. Mark Calzaretta in the number 17, P17, alongside Steve Parker. And the GT1 entered 911. We'll get a couple of more rows in here before we get to the green flag. Price Ford in the number 12, GTC 8, 992 Cup will start alongside Chris Dooley in the GTD3 entered number 751. P11 is Keith Clark in the number 74. Alongside 747 of Brad Weber in P22. P23 is Mark Pulling in the 219, Jim DeRazio in the number 16 to start P24. As the field heads up the field, Brian, to take the green flag, which waves over our field. 40 cars strong, mostly 991s and 992s at the front of the field. Double file, lights ablaze down the front straightaway into turn number 1.
Lights out there right now. I tell you what, Mueller and Rene Robichaud, we saw this early on yesterday in their afternoon sprint race, where Robichaud was able to get the better of Bob Mueller at the start, and it looks like they're going to try to do that same again as they head down there. Now it looks like Mueller is going to be in front of Rene Robichaud. I tell you what, John Getz in the 57 machine, we saw this yesterday, started off strong, but does look like Getz maybe holding up a group of cars, as now we've got some 2 and 3 wide. Real quick, I wanted to just got word that it's actually not David Murray, it's Dylan Murray that will be in the car, the son of David.
Got it. Very good. I made some assumptions there based on the information I had.
Based off the D.
Yep, sure, as you do. Couple of cars scooting away at the front. Looks like it's just Miller and Robichaud who have cleared away, and then John Getz, it looks like, in that new number 57 in the front of the GTC entered cars there, leading a pack that is 35 or so cars strong directly behind. Tell you what, some of those Caymans in the mid-pack, they're mixing it up with the back end of the 997, 991 Cup entries. It's an interesting little dynamic we'll have to see play out over the course of these first few laps. We haven't really gotten a chance because they've been entered in different groups this weekend.
Yeah, I tell you what, 9 different classes going to go off here in this race right here, in this Enduro right here, as well as our GTB1 class. We've been talking about this kind of really all weekend with Ed Dunn, Jeff Cleveland, Aaron Rodgers, or Angus Rogers. Wow, Aaron Rodgers. I better not say that name up here too many times anymore. But Angus Rogers, Kevin Sear, Michael Sword, Russell Motorana, Kieran O'Rourke, and Tim O'Mara. I tell you what, that battle in that GTB1, even during our sprint races, was pretty good. It came really all the way down into the end of each session. So I would assume this is going to be doing the same here as well. So
I love that shot going down into Canada corner with 35 cars strong from third on back, kind of coming down into that braking zone as a group. We've had basically no breeze all weekend, but the trees bending every direction as that field of cars came by at probably 145, 150 miles an hour plus into that turn 12 braking zone. Awesome, awesome vision from down inside of Canada corner.
Tell you what, Joseph Viola trying to put some pressure on Griffin Fuji in that 270 machine as they were heading down into turn 1. Viola trying to show the nose inside here, and there's another car going to go too wide there. We'll see. I don't believe that Viola was able to get that pass done over Fuji. Doesn't look like he was able to get that done. So again, when you go down in there, Brendan, and you stick that nose in there and you're just a bit offline, even though it's a big sweeping corner, it runs up quickly, and you've got to get back in line, and sometimes you just can't make that pass. But now it does look like Viola.
I take it back,
Yeah, it looks like Viola did get back by him.
Yeah, it was Esikoff in that number 71 who's tucked in behind Griffin Fuji in that red number 270 now.
So we'll have to see on that. But again, it looks like he is going to make that through there. There they come now out of turn number 8 and head up towards the carousel. This is the part we've been talking about kind of all weekend. This is where that throttle modulation is going to come in, and the better car that can get back down on the power pretty quickly to head down towards the kink, the fastest right-hander that we have on this race course. Right here, again, another turn that throttle modulation is going to really come into play.
Yeah, you try not to do too much of that. You'd like to pick out your throttle percentage and just kind of hold it steady there, because way the weight transfers in these cars, you'd like to have that consistent balance through the constant radius, 200 degrees of rotation around the carousel there, until you're ready to plant that throttle to the floor and let the car track out to the exit of turn number 10. Doesn't always work out that way, but it's a nice thought. Holding about 100 miles an hour through that long right-hander most of the way through.
Tell you what, in this class here, Brendan, this will be an opportunity when we do get to the pit cycles here, whether or not they do change tires on these cars within that 5 minute mark, because some of these drivers, looking at these times, they're really starting to push it out as much as they can and as fast as they can pretty quickly. So to me, that tells me that when we get to those windows where they're going to pit for that strategy, that they may end up throwing some tires on. I see some teams down there, they have tires sitting there along their pit stalls. So
I've not had where is Nick Placenik? Oh, weird. Okay, he tumbled down the timing list we had here in front of us. Now back up into P13. I had concerns that car had gone missing. There it is.
Again, some of these drivers that they started up in the front, you're right, they have fallen back a little bit. And again, that's we talked about this in the first group. That's where the strategy part comes in some cases where maybe that's a group that's not going to take tires, right? So they're not going to put tires on. They've got to make them last these 75 minutes with these cars and in these GT classes. You really got to make sure those tires stay on there and stay into the track.
Yeah, I mean, remember these Cup cars don't have traction control,
Correct.
right? So the invitation can be there to let that rear of the car hang out a little bit, slide it around. But if you go watch, or if you've ever watched a Porsche Carrera Cup race from trackside, 45-minute races can be a challenge on tires, right? It really does demand some precision and some restraint to just not light the rear of the car up at every opportunity. And big move up the inside here on Tom Berg. Who is that making the move? Is that Farhang maybe in the number 412? Anyway, it does take some of that restraint here. You've got to make these tires last 75 minutes, or I guess make an effort to change tires in the pit lane, which would be a decision. Yeah, interesting to see how that's all managed over this long race distance as we jump on board your overall race leader.
Yeah, pretty clean track there with Bob Mueller going out there. One of the battles I was looking at too, again, we'll take you around the track here, but with Viola getting around Griffin Fuji, and now William Oliver has gotten around him as well. Viola is right behind John Getz by about 3 seconds. So, but that was almost 5.5 seconds to the last lap before. So Viola going pretty quick here, trying to catch John Getz. That is going to be a battle in class in that GTC 8. So again, when you look at that, and now you're racing somebody in your class, and we talk about strategy and pit strategies, when they pit versus when you pit. Some of them already got their predetermined when they're going to pit. Some of them, that changes as the race goes on, depending on where you are. If you end up starting to battle classes. Here is Viola right now, getting a lot of pressure right now from Oliver in that 058 machine. So again, Oliver trying to get around him as well.
I was going to say there, Viola catching Getz is going to be secondary here, because I think Joseph Viola is going to have his hands full with that 058 for a little while. Does look like that slightly... Oh, it's listed as a 992 Cup, that 058. Anyway, that car is noticeably quicker than the 62, at least at the moment. And is that move done? Yeah, it looks like, no, sorry. Very similar paint schemes on those cars. Move not done.
I'll tell you what, Angus Rogers has moved ahead of Ed Dunn. So after the first couple laps here, move Angus Rogers, and he's been quick all weekend long, especially in that GTB1 class. Had that unfortunate drop in positions on one of those sprint races where he was leading and ended up dropping back, there. But for pretty much most of this weekend, Angus Rogers has been pretty quick in that number 9 machine.
Thanks for joining us in the chat for our last race of the weekend. Trudy Murray tried to steer me in the right direction early by saying, go Dylan Murray, and I should have known at that point that was who was in the car. Did correct me later on. The Robbins Nest Autosport racing on Monday as God intended. I want to be very clear about this. Driver's Eye Live will cover racing on a Wednesday. We'll cover track days on a Wednesday. Yeah. I don't care. It's cars on a racetrack, and that's really all that matters. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, it looks like we got one car coming off pit lane, and that was not part of their 5 minutes. I believe that is that the 71?
771,
Is that the 771?
O'Rourke, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Had some problems yesterday, I believe, as well with that car.
Yeah, I think that car had an off maybe down at turn 3. Anyway, it didn't look to be looked under control, but not up to speed.
Yeah.
Is out off the racing line now, trying to stay out of the way. But 2 things. Number 1, it was a short pit stop, and number 2, it was before the pit window opened.
Well, yeah. So
having to make the stop didn't actually. It's not like you could kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone there. You're stuck had to make that early stop. You still have to come in and do your 5-minute stop later.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that was, come to the attention of the pit crew, something's not right on the car, and go back out. Again, only 10 minutes, 10 and a half minutes into this race. That pit window doesn't open up for another 4 minutes, so 4.5 minutes actually. So definitely will not count towards that 5 minutes.
Rene Robichaud in the number 91 puts in a personal best, 2:07.980. That is good enough to pick up about a quarter second on the overall race leader, number 28. So not letting, we presume, Bob Mueller in the Manibal tequila-sponsored Porsche get away very much here on the early lap. And just as I say that, Mueller answers with a 2:07.7. Saw him working pretty hard at the steering wheel. I don't think he's out for something of a Monday drive.
He's not out for a Monday drive. Yeah. I know you were getting ready to say Sunday drive. No, this is a Monday drive.
If I couldn't surprise you, I guess I surprised nobody else. So fair enough.
As we watch Bob go down here into turn number 3, getting ready to head down the long straightaway here, down under the Sargento Bridge. And what's really interesting is when they get down to the bottom of this, or really when they get to the top of this, right here is where it starts to go downhill. Now, it doesn't look like it on screen from that camera angle. You can see a little bit here, but that is a complete elevation all the way down the bottom of the hill. And we looked at this yesterday. This rise right here doesn't look like it's that big of a hill. Trust me, it is very steep. Yeah. To go up underneath that Corvette bridge, coming out of turn number 6, and then head down into turn number 7.
Worst corner on the track, Brian, and I'm not sure it's close. That turn 6 is really, really difficult. You've got to pick your braking point out early without being able to see the corner. You're going up under the bridge. The road is narrowing all the time. And then just as you sort of plateau over the top, you've got to be turned left in already to get to the apex of turn 6. And it's not an especially important corner because it's just a short straightaway up to turn 7 where you've got to breathe the throttle anyway. But it doesn't take you being very far offline or very, late on your turn in to turn 6 for you to open the door to somebody to scoot up the inside.
Absolutely.
At the apex there.
Yep.
Very, very tricky.
We have seen lots of passes here where cars have gone up and missed kind of that entry and then take a later entry. Yeah. And next thing you know, you wash out almost to the rumble strips right there. And there's somebody else that's gotten in there at the right speed, at the right turn. Yeah. And they've got 2 wheels up on that curbing. And it just throws them off that curbing right there. And you end up making that
And that's
pass.
The exact reason we see, and obviously in PCA, I don't think we've seen any contact this weekend. But in a lot of professional series and also NASCAR, you'll see accidents there at turn number 6. You think, well, it's a 90-degree corner. How does that happen? It's because when somebody's just that little bit late at 6, somebody is inevitably going to stick their nose where there really isn't much of much room. They make contact on corner exit because they thought, well, the door was open. they come around and somebody ends up in the wall on driver's left, out in the grass on driver's right. It happens over and over and over, and it's all because of how blind and how tricky that plateau entry is to turn number 6.
Well, that, and and you mentioned this the other day too, and you've been out here on the racetrack, is as wide as it looks on camera and as wide as it looks, it's really not that wide, and that's one of the narrowest places that we have here in this course is right there in turn 6, because coming up that hill, sometimes those shadows, you miss that entry, right? Because it's just on the other side of that bridge when you need to make that turn in.
Well, your breaking point is if you're using the bridge as any sort of a reference or the shadow off the bridge, that shadow's moving.
Yeah.
And they do tell you not to use shadows as breaking points for very obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But believe me, it's easier than you think to get sucked into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good battles here with a couple of these GT4 Caymans. Try and pick out the class.
Well, I believe that is back all the way into when we look down through here. That's I believe Angus Rogers is sitting there, and I believe that is Ryan Chakowski. Ed Dunn is in there as well.
Oh, you're
in that 98. Right. So you've got a few of our GTB1s, GT2 in that number 4 with Ryan in there. So again, he's trying to catch Scott Nays in that 10. So again, you've got a lot of battles going on.
Tough one here. We have our first pit caller.
Well, that's right on that number.
That's
So
really
we'll have
close.
to see. That's Ryan. We'll see what they do when they come down here. It looks like they're coming in down to the attention of the group, but I
think he was early.
Scoring, I think he's going to be he's going to be about 10 to 15 seconds early.
I think that's early.
When he hit that. So we'll have to see. Again, we're not the official time, so if there's a call on the radio that says it, I'm seeing some scurrying down there from the stewards down there. They're right outside our window down here. That may have been a couple seconds early. So we'll have to see based off of the live timing here.
So if the goal was to get the pit stop done now, and this isn't I have a problem, I have to come in. I can see the motivation for trying to cut that margin razor thin, right? Because you're in a bunch of traffic. There's a bunch of Caymans around you. Some of them are in your class. Some of them are not. You're being hounded by Angus Rogers and Ed Dunn, who are carrying on their tussle from yesterday. Tussles, I guess, from yesterday down in GTB1. The finer you can cut that margin and get yourself out into clean air, like we saw for Rob Walker earlier on this morning, I get it.
Yeah.
But you can't take that risk.
Yeah.
Right? You can't put yourself in a position where either you have to make an extra stop because this one doesn't count because you didn't make the window, or you have to go in and serve a penalty.
Yeah.
I don't know what the situation is going to be. I actually think maybe I need to send a text down to timing and get an answer on that.
Well, I see some of the stewards that were down here near the window there, and they took the cart down there where they're at. So we'll have to wait and see kind of what happens there. We'll see whether or not he's going to have to come back in. Well, no, you know what? That is definitely not the 5-minute mark, because I think they had a problem because he has just now come off, so he definitely did not sit there for that full 5 minutes. So I think this was one of those emergency pit stops that needed to happen down to the attention of the crew. They went up underneath the trunk and looked back in there, and then they looked up in the right front, I believe, in the tire. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get some word on that, but that is definitely not their 5-minute pit stop.
One of the most exciting things I think we're going to get to see throughout the course of our yellow group Enduro this morning, Brian, is the fact that this is as close as we're going to get to something like an IMSA race.
Yes.
Right, where there is legitimate multi-class racing.
Yes, absolutely.
With cars that are being pushed quite close to their limits up at the front of the field in particular. Bob Mueller, Rene Robichaud, and later Kevin Roush as well on board that lead number 28 are beginning to pick their way through some of these Caymans down in some of the lower classes, the GTD, GTB classes. It allowed Robichaud in that number 91 to pick up just a little bit of time working through those first couple of cars. We've got another group coming here. Let's watch this gap ebb and flow between our race leaders, 28 and 91, because I think there could be some opportunities for Robichaud here, if indeed it's a strong point for him as a driver or for the car to pick up some, if not the spot, actually quite a bit of time here and close right up onto the back of that rear wing of that number 28.
Right. Yeah, again, and most of these drivers, they know whether or not you're racing a driver in class, right?
Yeah.
And so here it is. There's Mueller just now coming down, going into the carousel right now, and there's Rene Robichaux in that 91. Again, that's not a battle in class. Mueller and Roush will be in the GTA 3 class with Rene Robichaux in that GTA 4. So a difference in class, but Renee's really got that car handling this weekend, really got it running, because he has definitely given Mueller a run for his money, and they're going to come up, and now we're going to go on board down into Canada Corner. They're going by Ed Dunn right now, so they're going to come down through
checking the mirrors.
into Canada Corner, right? He's definitely looking at those mirrors going through there.
Yep, gets down to the apex, well defended on the way into Canada Corner. Thinks right, goes left, past Angus Rogers. It's the GTB1 leader. Wonder if Robichaux got through there. My guess is probably not. Pretty fine margins there. Not really where you want to be catching traffic. It's not quite as bad as the kink might have been in terms of having to breathe out of the throttle, but the road is really, really narrow there, and you've got to be precise and decisive in how you get through cars sweeping through the kettle bottoms and down into Canada Corner.
Well, I tell you what, Rene Robichaux did not get by Ed Dunn and Angus Rogers, but there goes Angus Rogers and Ed Dunn. That is the battle in the GTB1 class right now. So Ed Dunn just under a second closer to Angus Rogers. So where some of the traffic that they had to go through, that ended up allowing Ed Dunn, and you can see them now as they come out of turn 3. That's the first car right there. That's Angus Rogers in the 9. That's Ed Dunn in the 98 going by. So when our overall leader, Bob Mueller, went by, Robichaux didn't get clear of that. Now he has gotten clear of that, but he's dropped by about 2 car lengths, as the last time by when they were in Canada Corner, he was kind of right on the tail of that wing for that overall lead.
Yeah, and don't remember remember, these passes aren't happening in a vacuum. It's not only affecting Mueller and Robichaux as they go through. Every pass they make that's not just in a perfectly straight line is affecting to some degree the cars that they're actively passing. So the group of 3 GT4 Caymans that just went through the camera shot, Angus Rogers, Ed Dunn directly behind them. Anybody that's got to breathe out of the throttle or has to be wide of the apex to let somebody up the inside or to make room for one of our race leaders does have the opportunity to close in some of those margins, cost somebody a little bit more time, maybe open things up for somebody. Look at the run Robichaux's got here, down from the kink into Canada Corner. Really, really good run out of the carousel. Clearly was 2 or 3 car lengths behind, and now under a car length as they jumped on the binders down into turn number 12. We'll pick them up here in a moment on the way into the final corner. There they are, actually. And Mueller's going to get held up a touch through turn number 14. White Cayman pulls off to drivers right into the pits. Robichaux's going to be in the slipstream here up the front straightaway. And with just 2 or 3 car lengths to choose between them, Mueller is going to peek to drivers right. Should be able to clear this car into turn number 1. I don't know that Robichaux is going to be able to do the same without really chucking it in there, which he does.
Threw it in there as quickly as he could to get by. I believe that was the 58 machine going down into turn number 1.
Right.
That was Glenn Spiegler in that 58. Yep. We do have some activity on pit road. So Cliff Kyer in the 08 machine is on pit road along with Tom Burke in there. They are putting fuel in the Burke machine. I can't see if they're doing Kyer. It looks like the 4 as well is also back on pit road. So obviously that car is not there, not full song right now, having some problems to sit down there. But Burke getting some fuel as well. So this is where we're starting to get our pit stops starting to open up in that window with just about, they entered with about 21 minutes into the race. So again, this is where it comes back where, again, you have to wonder. On the sprint races yesterday, and they were 25 minutes, and they're pitting now for fuel after 21, setting up for a full fuel load to get towards the end.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, I'd start light. If you're planning to pit early, start light and then use your 5 minutes to just pack the thing full, right? And get yourself to a point where you can run comfortably to the end without having to worry about pedaling the car and trying to save fuel.
Yep. Tell you what, while we're about 24 minutes into this race, 25 minutes into this race, why don't we go ahead, we'll take our first break. Thank some partners and sponsors. When we come back, we'll pick up this action, and we'll start to see a flurry of activity on pit road. You're watching the 2025 Road America Challenge from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We'll be right back.
OG Racing has been a national sponsor of PCA Club Racing since 1998. Headquartered in Sterling, Virginia, and staffed by PCA members and club racers, OG Racing has always carried the industry's best in racing safety equipment and performance parts. The best products from manufacturers like Sparco, OMP, Alpine Stars, helmets from Bell, Stilo, Rue, brake pads from Performance Friction, Paget and Hawk, just to name a few, and are always in stock and ready to ship from their 12,000 square foot warehouse. Give OG Racing a call or visit them at www.ogracing.com and sign up for their newsletter.
About to hit the track without coverage for your car? Buy HPDE insurance in minutes at LockedInMotorsports.com. Whether you drive a 911 or a Boxster, protect your car against physical damage during HPDE and track day events with HPD insurance from Locked In Motorsports, administered by Locked In Affinity. Coverage includes modifications you've done to your car, 2 drivers at each event, demonstration laps your instructor drives, and more. Worried about the trip home? Locked In Motorsports also offers off-track insurance for your non-licensed race car or track car while in transit, in storage, and in the paddock, plus options for your trailer, equipment, and tools. Insure your Porsche today at LockedInMotorsports.com.
Miller's Oils is proud to be a Porsche Club Racing sponsor and to work with Racer's Edge as their North American distributor. Miller's Oils has been blending oil since 1887 and has an extensive product line for virtually every street or racetrack application. The technology implemented in Miller's engine oil and gear oils protects the wear surfaces of your engine and gear train on a microscopic level, significantly reducing friction and increasing the life of your engine and gear train. We encourage you to try Miller's and judge for yourself with the help of an oil sample analysis. As they say, the proof is in the pudding.
Welcome back to the 2025 Road America Challenge, coming to you from the National Park of Speed here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And I tell you what, we're going to start to see some flurry of activity on pit road here in this Enduro. We've got a lot of good battles going on the racetrack right now. There's Joseph Viola. I'm Brian Donati, along with Brendan Kazmarek, along with our director, Jordan Worth. I tell you what, we were just talking during the break here that, some of these cars and some of these teams, this is where it's really going to start to fall off a little bit. We've had Ryan Straczynski come down the pit road a couple of times, Brendan. Once earlier on, right before the pit window opened, we thought, well, he's probably going to miss that window, but ended up not having it. And so that car has been back down pit road a couple of times. We saw Cliff Kyer down on pit road, Thomas Burke. They've each completed their 5 minutes. So again, with just about 48 minutes to go, we should start to see some more cars down pit road. When we were there, when we were talking about it, you talked about Thomas Burke, maybe, because only 20 minutes in and then they put fuel in. Maybe they started with a lighter load at the beginning of this race, knowing they were only going to go those 20-some minutes before they had to come back and then complete that fuel load to finish the rest of this race.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, that is absolute, maximum optimization of things. You want to run the car light, get some pace out of it, and not chew through tires. If you don't have to, if your plan is to pit early. If your plan is to pit late, obviously you put enough fuel in, but you do the same, right? You don't put more fuel in the car than you know you're going to need to get to your planned pit point. It matters, I think, more in these cars on racing slicks. They're heavier, bigger cars than it did in our Purple Group Enduro earlier this morning. Whether anybody is really doing that math and pushing quite hard, I'm not sure. But I will say, we saw how close some of those cars cut it on fuel yesterday in the early sprint races that went a lap longer than I think some of them were anticipating.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was tight. That is Griffin Fuji on driver's right. And is that Troy Peterson in the yellow 272?
That may be, and we just had one car that went down through the exit there of turn 5 to take that shortcut around through there. I'm not sure what that car number was. We'll have to see, but that car did not go and make that left-hand turn.
It's a 726, Brian.
Is that what
Russell Martirana in GTB1?
Okay, so Russell Martirana
out of third,
ending his day. It looks like he definitely took that cutout and went straight through. So evidently a problem in Russell's machine there. Which is, you're right, unfortunate because, in that GTB1 class, with him being in third at that point, that kind of opens the door. That should end up moving Kevin Sear up into third here momentarily, along with Jeff Clebon and then Michael Stewart. That should be a good battle there. They're about 30 seconds apart after that, so that's going to open up that last podium spot right now. And again, none of those drivers have made a pit stop as of yet. Martirama coming in through the back door, basically.
Over on YouTube, the Big Stick says, shout out to the region for an awesome event and all of our volunteers for making it possible. Drivers, excellent job as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But thank you to the Chicago region and the PCA.
Yes.
This is our 8th event of the year. I think I'm right to say.
Yes, 8th. Yeah, we've got two more left.
We've covered.
Two more.
And this has been just a real treat for us. It's always awesome to come up to Road America and spend a nice long weekend at America's National Park of Speed. But a well-run event really puts things over the top. The paddock has a real energy and a vibe to it this weekend that you don't always get at a club race. But I think everybody's... Certainly, we really enjoyed ourselves here at Drivers Eye Live. Really enjoyed the opportunity to be a part of this year's Road America Challenge, and looking forward to being able to do that in the future. Also, shouts to Emily Oliver in the chat. You will notice, dear viewer, on timing and scoring that, of course, a third-place car overall is being shared by William Oliver and Dylan Murray. The Olivers and Murrays have found each other in the YouTube chat as well. Emily Oliver and Trudy Murray sharing kind words back and forth about
the name there that they're now intertwined as one.
So teammates out on track, and obviously teammates over sharing time in the YouTube chat as well, which is kind of cool.
We were talking about that as well when we were sitting here, because when you look at timing and scoring, you've got Bob Mueller and then you got Kevin Roush, and now it's K. Roush Mueller. So
yes.
The Roushers and the Muellers have now integrated into one there as well. And I think we said we had one more there where we had Stafford and Freeman.
Yeah.
And Freeman is now integrated there with Stafford. So kind of one of those things where they do it as we start to see some of that activity.
That's Martirana coming back through the pit lane.
Oh, okay. So he definitely came around and then came back out through here. So again, cut down through turn 5. So here's how that works. So they come down into turn 5. They go down the hill. They come back out through. They come up. They can come back in through the grid area and then back out into the pit lane, right?
Correct. So you're driving through the center of the paddock access road up the hill and then popping back out here.
Yep.
Somebody down the way here is going to have to be kind of attuned to that, though, and make sure that lap, that short lap is deleted, right?
Yep, absolutely. That lap, nope.
And normally you're very good at that, right? Because turn 5 will call the car through the chute. Somebody in timing will make a note and say, okay, if this car reappears, that lap gets removed.
Yep. And unfortunately, we don't have the track radio built into our headsets here. We do have it on the desk here in front, and so it becomes a little bit of a challenge to listen to. I can see when they're talking about stuff, and I do know that when we saw them come through, as they're jacking up the car down there on the pit lane, when that car went through turn 5, I could see the light on the radio light up that call came through. So again, that is where, just as you said, somebody notices that, they pick that up, and then all of a sudden, as you said, comes back up the hill through the center of the paddock, makes the left back to the grid. There's a sign there for the grid, and he's able to come back through so that he doesn't go to his paddock area back there and then come back out, right? He has to come through and then come back out if they're going to continue.
It's almost like a Nürburgring-style bailout, right? If you've got a problem or you've miscalculated on fuel or you're running out of fuel, which has never happened to me in a sim race or anything, if you happen to miss that pit entry, instead of going out for what at the Nürburgring would be the full lap out onto the Nordschleife, but here is going out to the west side of the course and finishing out that 4-mile lap, you have the ability to duck into the pit, say, okay, yes, I'm going to lose the lap, but it's better than being stuck out there. It's better than losing a tire out there or tearing the car apart with a flat tire or running out of fuel out there. Better to bail out. You arguably are going to lose less time doing it, even though the lap gets deleted. And if you're heads up enough to make that happen, it can actually work to your relative, I say in air quotes, advantage.
Right.
battle for the lead, overall lead, is still very much on between Bob Mueller and Rene Robichaud down into turn number 5. We have cleared the 30-minute sprint marker, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
everything that we have from this point forward is kind of uncharted territory for some of these cars.
Yes.
At least this weekend. Interesting to see the way the pace has changed. Bob Mueller was down in the 207s earlier. Last lap was a 212.2. Rene Robichaud was a 211.9. And there wasn't a whole lot of traffic to speak of. And I do wonder if maybe this is just some of that, the balance changing on these cars. Remember, the fuel load is at the fuel tank is at the front.
Yep.
Fueling happens at the front, and as the weight comes out of the front, you get a more rearward weight distribution on an obviously already rear-engine car, and that can really, really change the way these cars brake and turn in particular. Obviously, there's still rocket ships under acceleration, but can sometimes be just enough. So we get another pit caller here. It looks like Griffin Fuji in the 270, Brian.
Yeah, I got Griffin Fuji is coming in as well, and we also had the number 10 machine coming in as well, Scott Nays. I am seeing a couple other cars down there on pit road, and they are changing tires. So some of these crews, as I said, they're going to change tires, in order to do that. And so when they come back out, because they just came in, they're going to have that sprint type style race on those tires, so they get the most out of those tires, and cutting this in kind of in sections.
Trying to pick out who they're lapping there. It looks vaguely similar to the Getz number 57, but I'm pretty certain it's not. That certainly wouldn't make sense to me.
No, I don't think they would be doing John Getz lapping him. Kind of look at that through there. They're coming through there now. Rene Robichaud's got the flashing of the lights. There goes Mueller. There. You come out, you see Robichaud. He flashes the lights to Mueller, but I think it was more flashing the lights to the car they were overtaking coming out of the turn, because I don't believe that Mueller flashed the lights as well. So they kind of went through there, coming up the hill there. So.
Big accident here on the run down into Canada Corner. That's through 11A and 11B, the double left, flat out and maximum speed. And it looks like we've torn the front end off of, I can't even really tell what it is, but it's been into the wall somewhere down there big.
And it looks like we may be going to a double yellow here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're looking out here out the window, and yep, there it is. We are under a double yellow now, with just roughly under 39 minutes left. So again, what they'll do is they'll send our Porsche Exchange pace car out, safety car at this point, pick up the field. Now again, we've talked about this, the drivers that are on, and here comes the 57. I don't know if he got into pit road before that yellow came out. It's
going to be close.
Here comes Philip Leja as well. 53, there's the 58. Viola is in as well. So again, we'll have to see with that long pit road. Again, I think some of these teams called him in. It looks like 3/4 of our field here. There's Angus Rogers in the 9, all making that run up to pit road.
Yeah, I wonder if for this event in particular, it's you're able to make that pit stop under yellow.
Yeah, we're going to have to see here again as we're all under double yellow. The safety car just went out, picked up the field there, down into turn number 1. Some of these drivers just now coming by the start-finish line under that double yellow. So unfortunately, that incident down there, just outside the kink, down near the kettle bottoms there, kind of in 11A, basically the way they look at that. There's Mueller, there's Robichaud. Again,
I didn't pit.
We'll have to get clarification, because when that double yellow came out, I can almost guarantee you, Brendan, half those cars had not entered in pit road. Even though it is a long uphill, that was a lot of cars that came down when we first saw it. I think the 58 got in, and then maybe 2 or 3 other cars.
I would say Getz is the only one I think you could say, like,
Getz probably got in there
as well. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
Obviously, like, timing will know.
Yep, they'll know exactly.
You'll have the timestamp of when the yellow was called for and when the flags went out against when that car tripped the timing beam down there at the entry to pit lane. Everybody else behind Getz in that 57, I remain unconvinced that went the way that they would hope. Yeah, and the fact, Brian, to me that Mueller and Robichaux didn't pit and are catching up to Cube behind the safety car here kind of suggests to me that we're not supposed to be pitting under full course yellow, or if we do, that it doesn't count against your pit stop. The other thing that's worth considering here is how many of these cars targeted that 45-minute mark as the pit lane, as their pit stop, and only fueled for those 45 minutes.
No, absolutely. I totally understand. So they know they were really coming close to running out.
Yeah.
And they needed to get on pit lane relatively quickly, in order to do that. So
what IMSA would call emergency service, right? How do we handle those things? Now, you and I don't have a rule book in front of us, so we don't have all the answers to those questions, but it is something that obviously is going to affect the way all of this ends up shaking out. The other thing worth considering here, Brian, there are very few small incidents here at Road America. That location in particular is really narrow, really high speed, and it's lined with concrete on both sides. So you're taking a big hit into an immovable object on the way down into there. This can take some time for us to clean up. Just to make sure that everybody's okay down there, get the driver out of the car if they need to be looked at, get them looked at. Big impacts also have the tendency to create leading edges on concrete blocks, and there's a non-zero chance we may have to align some concrete barriers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll tell you what, why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead, we'll take our second break here, get that out of the way, then we can get some information of really what's going on and get that, and then when we come back, we can probably give you that update with about 30 right around 35 minutes, just under 35 minutes here. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Thanks some partners and sponsors, and when we come back, we'll try to give you an update. We'll be right back.
LN Engineering is a proud sponsor of the Porsche Club of America and this year's track race, the Road America Challenge. Whether you have an old air-cooled Porsche or a modern water-cooled one, LN Engineering has performance and reliability upgrades for all models. Be sure to use coupon code TRAC on lnengineering.com to save 20% at checkout while shopping for your favorite brands.
Kansas City region is excited to host their second annual club race in the rolling hills of the Ozarks. The 2025 Race the Roller Coaster Club Race will be held on September 27th and 28th at Ozark International Raceway. The challenging 3.97-mile, 19-quarter course has almost 1,500 feet of combined elevation change per lap. The track is in Gravois Mills, Missouri, a few hours from Kansas City. There will be 3 sprint races, one on Saturday, followed by a happy hour with drinks and refreshments, and 2 on Sunday. Both days will have charity parade laps during lunch and give friends and family a taste of the roller coaster. The points races at this club race will earn points towards the 2025 Mid-America Series as well as the 2025 PCA National Championship Points Series. Register at clubregistration.net. The last PCA East Coast race of the season is at Carolina Motorsports Park, October 17th through 19th. The Carolinas Challenge is held at the 2.3-mile road course that's about an hour south of Charlotte. The event will feature the Vintage Class runoffs, 3 sprint races, and a 65-minute endurance race on Sunday. Wind down after Friday's practice with a social presented by Narrow Escape Motorsports, and after Saturday's sprint races, enjoy the award ceremony in full Southern hospitality with music and barbecue. Visit clubregistration.net to sign up.
Back at the Road America Challenge 2025 running. We're in our final race of the weekend here on this Labor Day, late morning as it is now, about 11:30. As you see, and Brian Donati rejoins me here in the booth, we've got our cars lining up in the pit lane. You could see just in the corner of our last camera shot there, a black flag waving at the last corner. Black flag all. Bring the cars into the pits, have them come to a stop behind the safety car, and we're going to pause the race as it is now while the timer continues to run in the upper left, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to go to pause it, get everybody back here together, get that incident down there cleaned up and then got to get everything back together. Looks like it was a little bit of an impact, so probably going to have to do a little bit of extensive cleanup. But best thing to do is, instead of having the cars out on the racetrack trying to get through that incident zone, bringing everybody down here, kind of get the field reset, put them where they need to be. It does look like our leader, Bob Mueller, has been picked up by the safety car. You can see some of the cars there from this shot here, where we have some of the cars kind of all the way up against the concrete there on the left side of pit road, and then you see the safety car kind of in the middle. Well, in the middle there, that is where Bob Mueller is. So Bob Mueller is right behind the safety car. So they moved the safety car over until Bob was able to catch up to the safety car, because when the safety car came out, once that incident happened, they had ended up picking up one of the other cars just to get everybody slowed down enough to when they went through that incident zone. So.
Yeah, cleanup is going to take a minute down there, Brian, and it's going to leave us with some question marks as to how we handle the end of this. We've got a lot of wiggle room in the end of our day here, right? Yeah, okay, we've got to be off the property by around 7 o'clock, but with 30 minutes left on the timer and a very long DE and charity window, at the charity laps window at the end of the day post-lunch, yeah, let's wait and see what race control timing and the stewards all decide to do down just the other end of the building here.
And technically, the clock is still continuing to run because they are under that yellow. Even though they did go to a black flag to bring it all down, they did put the kind of the lights down at the end of pit road. They did red. They didn't want anybody else going back out. So there were some drivers that came down pit road right as that double yellow came out. And so when they did that, again, they didn't want drivers going back out to do that. So
well, and in particular, Brian, that allows for a whole lot more flexibility in the way that you can attack cleaning up the course, right? As we said, we think there's some moving around of walls that's going to have to be done down in that run. Cars are at basically top speed when they get there. Looks like there may be some fence repair to be done down there as well in that double left. Which can take even more time. Oh, the checkered flag is waving, Brian. They're going to call this one. Just a quick pause there as Brian is listening to the track radio. The checkered flag is waving at start-finish. It looks like they're going to have everybody make the right-hand turn and duck into the pit lane.
Yeah, I think this race is actually going to be considered official. Yeah. So, unfortunately, with that incident down there, I think there's just too much repairs to get this done, to get these drivers back out, which, again, Brendan, that now it becomes there's a lot of other questions here from an enduro standpoint, and that is where some of these drivers didn't make their pit stops, right? So they did not get them in. We saw this earlier in the year at Watkins Glen, but
well, at Watkins Glen, you guys had the ability to get the race resumed.
Well, we did. We ended up getting it resumed and everything else. But then, when we resumed it, there was not a lot of time in order to get the pit stops completed. Yeah. They did open it up and say, okay, if you haven't made a pit stop, you can go in and do your pit stop, and we'll do it then, and then we'll resume the race. So that made it even. Unfortunately, here, as you mentioned, and as I just mentioned before, the checkered flag is out. So you're going to see from our camera view, all of these drivers are going to come down to the end of pit out and make that right-hand turn. So this race is going to be official. So currently here, why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and we'll give the rundown of what we have on timing and scoring, and we'll let the stewards and everybody else figure out that at the end, for that. So in GTC 6, our only driver, the 74, Keith Clark, is going to end up picking up the win there. In GTC 8, Stafford, along with Freeman in the 999, they were just on pit road literally right when that happened. They were just leaving pit road for that. In the 412, Russell Farhang finishing second, third place. The last podium spot in GTC 8 will be the number 12 of Price Ford. In GTD 2, Mark Cook in the 581 is going to lead over Scott Nays, and then Ryan Struskowski in that 4 is going to finish third. In GTC 7, Nick Plasenik, along with Mark Poling in the 219, along with Philip Leja, who, again, he also came down pit road right when that double yellow came out. In GTB1, looks like Ed Dunn's going to pick up the win there. 522 of Jeff Cleveland's going to finish second. Kevin Sear is going to finish third in the 194. We talked about Angus Rogers here earlier on, Brendan. He was just leading pit road when that came out. So, again, moved him back all the way down into fifth. Michael Stewart's going to finish fourth. In GTD3, Chris Dooley in the 751 going to pick up there. Brad Weber in the 747 going to finish second. Larry Wexler in the 171 is going to finish third. Mark Calzaretta had just pitted as well momentarily before that. Tom Burkett just finished his pit stop to finish fifth. In GTA 3, Bob Mueller, Kevin Roush looks like they're going to pick up the win there. Kevin Esikoff in the 71 will finish second. Cliff Kyer, who just left pit road as well in the 08, will finish third. In GTA 4, Rene Robichaux pick up the win there. And then in the 58, the Olivers and Dylan Murray will finish second in the 058. Woody Witchard is going to finish in the third position in 212. And our lone GTD1 driver, Jeff Robbins, in that 444, going to pick up the win there. So, unfortunately, that is going to wrap up this weekend here for our club drivers as well with our Enduros and along with our sprint racing. So, again, another great weekend of racing action, here. So,
yeah, tough to end it on a note, on this kind of note, obviously. We've had just picture-perfect weather, awesome racing across 3 sprint groups. We saw a great Enduro this morning, and first half of this one, Brian, was fantastic as well. We're really shaping up, I think, for something special in the battle for the overall win. Obviously, this is also racing. Accidents do happen. Unfortunately, Road America is a place that still has consequences, right?
Yes.
Things happen when things go wrong, and that's that is the case here. We hope everybody's all right. The good news was that the medical vehicles they sent that direction were in and out pretty quickly.
Yeah, they were in and out of there. Yep.
And if you're going to pull some information and extract from information out of that, it's that it wasn't a very precise and careful job getting drivers out of cars and out to be seen. So, like we said, we hope everybody's okay. Unfortunately, that's kind of the end of our weekend here for you and I, Brian.
Yeah, that's going to wrap up our coverage here for for the 2025 Road America Challenge. Our next event is going to be at Summit Point in 2 weeks. So we'll be picking that up. So again, if you haven't clicked that like button or pounded that notification bell so you can know when we come back and go on air, as well as picking up the other content that PCA definitely has to offer throughout. That they have on their channel. I highly suggest that you do that. So, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. But again, we'll see you in 2 weeks. We will be back there at Summit Point Raceway in Summit Point, West Virginia. As I said, you're watching the 2025 Road America Challenge, the national home of the National Park of Speed here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Pirelli and Porsche have been a winning combination around the racing world for years. Pirelli is proud to bring that relationship to PCA Club Racing yet again in 2025. Make sure to see the guys from Frisbee and find the right Pirelli tire for your vehicle, or check them out on the web at frisbeeracetire.com. Pirelli powers nothing without control. When you pack up from the raceway and head home on the highway, remember that the engineering excellence Michelin strives for in racing is applicable to our passenger and light truck tires too. Michelin is proud to continue its national sponsorship of Porsche Club of America and Club Racing. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Looking to decrease lap times on the track without an engine overhaul? GT Racing has a wide range of fiberglass and carbon fiber body panels, along with European racing headers, exhaust systems to lighten your car and accelerate all the potential horsepower of your engine. Time for a change? Convert your 944 into a turbo or a 924 GT, or your 911 to a 911 RS, RSR, or 935. Talk with Joel at GT Racing. He'll help you choose the winning combination of lightweight Porsche parts and header systems to set you on the right track. GT Racing is your one-stop shop for your Porsche needs. GT Racing is a national sponsor and proudly sponsors tech inspections at PCA Club races. GT Racing also sponsors the Best Prepared Car Award, a $100 gift certificate at each race. Call Joel at GT Racing today at 1-800-797-2911 or find us on the web at www.gt-racing.com.
Our first club racing sponsor, Porsche Cars North America, funds the club racing news and sponsors the Workers' Choice Award, considered the most prestigious award given at a club race. Thank you to PCA for offering vital support to our club racing program.
At Hankook Tire, we strive to create a universal moment when the car and driver become one. Our aim is to develop a safer, more pleasant, and more comfortable driving experience from the moment the driver turns on the engine. Through strong braking power, smooth handling, driving comfort, and guaranteed safety, Hankook products deliver an authentic driving experience beyond mobility. Our tires provide total control of speed and direction while ensuring safety and comfort on the road. Embrace driving emotion and embrace the feel and excitement of being behind the wheel with Hankook Tire. Hankook competition tires are the perfect match of performance and longevity. Visit hankookmotorsports.com to buy today.
OG Racing has been a national sponsor of PCA Club Racing since 1998. Headquartered in Sterling, Virginia, and staffed by PCA members and club racers, OG Racing has always carried the industry's best in racing safety equipment and performance parts. The best products from manufacturers like Sparco, OMP, Alpine Stars, helmets from Bell, Stilo, Rue, brake pads from Performance Friction, Paget and Hawk, just to name a few, and are always in stock and ready to ship from their 12,000 square foot warehouse. Give OG Racing a call or visit them at www.ogracing.com and sign up for their newsletter.
We're not just a one-off experience, we're a call to freedom. We're a place in people's minds where everyone can unleash their wild side with a passport to a world of possibilities, a spirit that breaks all the rules, uniting the famously bold and spirited essence of tequila from Mexico with the much-loved richness of peanut butter. Manibal is the bold embodiment of the party animal within us all. Here is where the ethics starts. Tequila can be purchased nationwide at manibaltequila.com.
Club Reg is a supporter of PCA Club Racing and the provider of all registration for each of our races. ClubRegistration.net is a unique service because we put all of our customers first. You can use our services for free or with a small credit card handling fee. How can you go wrong? Included with both are custom solutions tailored to meet your needs. Find out more information at ClubRegistration.net.
OG Racing has been a national sponsor of PCA Club Racing since 1998. Headquartered in Sterling, Virginia, and staffed by PCA members and club racers, OG Racing has always carried the industry's best in racing safety equipment and performance parts. The best products from manufacturers like Sparco, OMP, Alpine Stars, helmets from Bell, Stilo, Rue, brake pads from Performance Friction, Paget and Hawk, just to name a few, and are always in stock and ready to ship from their 12,000 square foot warehouse. Give OG Racing a call or visit them at www.ogracing.com and sign up for their newsletter.
About to hit the track without coverage for your car? Buy HPDE insurance in minutes at LockedInMotorsports.com. Whether you drive a 911 or a Boxster, protect your car against physical damage during HPDE and track day events with HPD insurance from Locked In Motorsports, administered by Locked In Affinity. Coverage includes modifications you've done to your car, 2 drivers at each event, demonstration laps your instructor drives, and more. Worried about the trip home? Locked In Motorsports also offers off-track insurance for your non-licensed race car or track car while in transit, in storage, and in the paddock, plus options for your trailer, equipment, and tools. Insure your portion today at LockedInMotorsports.com.
Miller's Oils is proud to be a Porsche Club Racing sponsor and to work with Racer's Edge as their North American distributor. Miller's Oils has been blending oil since 1887 and has an extensive product line for virtually every street or racetrack application. The technology implemented in Miller's engine oil and gear oils protects the wear surfaces of your engine and gear train on a microscopic level, significantly reducing friction and increasing the life of your engine and gear train. We encourage you to try Miller's and judge for yourself with the help of an oil sample analysis. As they say, the proof is in the pudding.
Pirelli and Porsche have been a winning combination around the racing world for years. Pirelli is proud to bring that relationship to PCA Club Racing yet again in 2025. Make sure to see the guys from Frisbee and find the right Pirelli tire for your vehicle, or check them out on the web at frisbeeracetire.com. Pirelli powers nothing without control.
Based in New Jersey, Precision Motorsports, or PMR, is a supporter of club racing and a new national sponsor for 2025. From the latest Cup cars to 944 racers, PMR has supported them all here at the track. True experts in their craft and dedicated to performance. Find them on Facebook at Precision Motorsports.
New for 2025, Isringhausen will be sponsoring the GTD 1, 2, and 3 classes. Our group here at Club Racing are thrilled to have them on board. Over the past 30 years, Isringhausen has become synonymous with quality vehicles and superb service. The Isringhausen way of doing business has been one of offering excellent products at fair prices, coupled with service that goes above and beyond what anyone would expect from a typical car dealership. We believe that good service is comprised of two components: a willing and helpful attitude, accompanied by competency in your field. We try to support an environment where each person who works here strives to serve each customer as they wish to be served, with dignity and respect. Because of these core values, Isringhausen has become and will continue to be a leading example in the industry.
One of our latest partners, Track Day Tire, is happy to be supporting Club Racing through their Toyo, Hoosier, and Michelin tires. Use the code PCACR for a discount at checkout. The TrackDayTire.com team is passionate about helping our customers extract the highest level of performance from their vehicles on the track. Decades of on-track experience has taught us purpose-designed track-use tires are arguably the single most important vehicle component that influences driver confidence to obtain maximum vehicle performance. Making it easier for our fellow Track Day enthusiasts to obtain confidence-inspiring tires is our goal. We look forward to providing you access to the best prices and customer support in the industry.
A household name in U.S. road racing for nearly 25 years, Toyo Tires has forged a reputation for winning, performance, and consistency. From the company's legendary Proxys RA1 to the two-groove Proxys RR, they have a history of getting drivers to the winner's circle. Their quality and performance extends beyond the track, offering owners a full line of premium tires for coupes to Cayennes. They are proud to build many of the tires right here in the United States at their state-of-the-art factory in Bartow County, Georgia. We thank them for their support of Porsche Club of America through Club Racing and the high-performance driver education program. Be sure to check out their contingency program if you race SP1 or Spec Boxster. To learn more about the full line of Toyo tires, visit www.toyotires.com.
Stable Energies takes pride in offering racers the very best in motorsport performance and safety equipment since 1978. Owner Bob Kikasik has been a PCA member for over 35 years and started club racing with PCA during its very first season. Located in northern New Jersey, Stable Energy stocks a wide variety of racing gear and motorsport products from top-quality brands like O&P, Alpine Stars, Bell, Hans, Schroth, Paget, and Bray Kraus. Stable Energies is a master distributor for Recaro and the U.S. importer for safety devices roll cages, as well as the Eastern U.S. distributor for RSS Porsche performance parts. You can shop with Stable Energies on their website, stableenergies.com. You can call and speak to a knowledgeable salesperson. They're happy to answer any of your questions. Or you can have one-on-one personal attention at their retail location just 10 minutes from New York City. PCA members receive special deals, so be sure to mention PCA Club Racing. Whether your fire system needs to be serviced, you need advice about a new race seater radio system, or you'll want to try on the coolest looking new driver suits, Stable Energies has yet covered.
Motion Control Suspension, or MCS, has proven to be the evolution of premium motorsports damper systems. Their team is continuously developing and refining damper technology that is vastly different from other manufacturers, developed through hands-on involvement in GT and touring car racing. While their roots are in the highest levels of professional sports car racing, their products excel in all environments, from enthusiastic street driving to autocross track days to club racing and far beyond. MCS is much more than just a great product. They have many years of practical racing experience, both on and off the track, extensive knowledge of vehicle dynamics, and an understanding of driver expectations and needs. MCS is proud to be a sponsor of Porsche Club Racing and invites you to lean on their expertise for setup support and consultation.
Partners of Club Racing for over 30 years, Eurosport Porsche Road and Race is a Porsche specialty shop with 2 locations in Illinois operating since 1984. Whether you have an early air-cooled car from the 60s or Porsche's newest cup car, we can provide all your service and parts needs. We are the one-stop shop for all of your Porsche repairs and race builds with a large inventory of Porsche parts and race gear.
Apex Racing Performance, Premier Racing Outfitters, provides racing equipment and product support to motorsports enthusiasts. A member of PCA since 1991, Clark Hammerly and his wife Linda both hold competitive racing licenses and install, use, and test the equipment they sell. This enables them to provide unbiased technical assistance on installation and use of their products. From helmets and race apparel to personal cooling and fire systems, Apex Performance also stocks performance friction brake pads for all Porsche applications. They invite you to visit their showroom in Merle's Inlet, South Carolina, shop online at www.apexperformance.net, call toll-free, or view their track schedule online. Mention PCA Club Racing to receive a discount on your next purchase.
Demon Speed Motorsports offers a full line of products for your race or track car. With their background in Porsche GT3 Cup cars, they bring the same quality and durability to the street and track replacement parts that they produce. These products include suspension links, motorsport-style center lock parts and kits, brake rotors, and wing uprights. Now, Good Arrow Wings and RacingTireWarmers.com are part of the Demon Speed family. With this, they now offer Good Arrow Wings with mounting solutions for most Porsche models. Racing Tire Warmers offer tire warmers to custom fit your race car to make you faster and safer on track. To learn more about Demon Speed Motorsports and see their great products, visit them at www.demonspeedmotorsports.com.
Trailix Trailer sets the standard for super lightweight, superior craftsmanship, and extraordinary quality. If you need a trailer, whether it be enclosed or open, to tow your Porsche, Trailix should be your first and only choice. Trailix has many sizes to fit your Porsche perfectly, and their unique touches ensure that your trailer will be as functional as it is beautiful. Trailix Trailers sponsors the Novice Racer Award, a gift certificate given to the second-time racer who exemplifies the club racing spirit.
Kurt at Kurt's German Auto Works has over 35 years in the Porsche dealer network and over 13 years in his own shop. He enjoys caring for all Porsches and looks forward to meeting you and your car. He's located down in Homer Glen, Illinois, 30 miles southwest of Chicago. For more information, go to Kurt's homepage. It's Kurt's with an S, Kurt'sGermanAutoworks.com.
Get ready for Rocky Mountain Thunder, the PCA race at High Plains Raceway in Colorado on September 20th and 21st. Rocky Mountain region hosted the very first PCA club race in 1992 at Second Creek Racetrack, and the members of the Rocky Mountain region take pride in this historic event. The region has run the race at Second Creek, at Puebla Motorsports Park, and now at High Plains Raceway. This race will earn points towards the 2025 Mid-America Series, the 2025 West Coast Series, as well as the 2025 PCA National Championship Points Series. The race weekend will feature two 30-minute sprint races on Saturday and a 65-minute endurance race on Sunday. Registration can be found at clubregistration.net.
Golden Gate Region will be hosting the third Thunderhill race of the season on September 13th and 14th. This event will include 3 sprint races on the 3-mile East course. Thunderhill Raceway provides some of the best racing around and is where many pro teams come to practice due to the many diverse corners around the track. After the summer heat, the weather in September should be perfect. This event will be a points race for the West Coast Series and the 911 Cup Trophy, along with standard points for the National Championship. The event is just for racers, though. There will also be run groups for HPDE and time trials. Visit clubregistration.net for more details and to register.
Far and Swit Watches is a proud sponsor of Porsche Club of America's Track Days. Looking for something to wear on your wrist and time your laps? The Illinois-based brand hand-assembles bold, retro-inspired timepieces in the Midwest. From cassette-themed digitals and solar-powered 80s designs to rugged Swiss automatic adventure watches, its collection celebrates nostalgia and sparks conversation. Committed to quality and distinctive style, Far and Swit crafts watches as unique as the people who wear them. Visit www.farandswit.com and use code PCA10 for 10% off your entire order. That's FARRAMDSWIT.com.
Come join racers, sponsors, spectators, and volunteers at this year's Rock the Summit, September 12th through 14th. Rock the Summit is the club race for PCA Potomac's Founders Region, and at 34 years, it's the longest-running PCA race in the nation. Beyond the high-energy racing, join us for live music, a barbecue dinner, roaming beer carts during happy hours, and some other treats as well. Our 100-plus highly committed volunteers are ready to make the race weekend the best you'll ever experience, whether you're a racer, spectator, or sponsor. See you at Rock the Summit 2025.
The Carrera of the Americas on November 22nd and 23rd at COTA in Austin, Texas, is the final PCA Club race of the 2025 season. Hosted by the Hill Country, Lone Star, and Maverick regions, the Circuit of the Americas, a Formula One venue, is a 3.4-mile, 20-turn track and is one of the most challenging in the United States. There will be 2 race groups contesting for the final season points toward the 2025 PCA Club Racing National Point Series and the 2025 Mid-America Championship Series. This event is limited to just 100 racers. To market calendars for registration open October 6th at clubregistration.net.
LN Engineering is a proud sponsor of the Porsche Club of America and this year's track race, the Road America Challenge. Whether you have an old air-cooled Porsche or a modern water-cooled one, LN Engineering has performance and reliability upgrades for all models. Be sure to use coupon code TRAC on lnengineering.com to save 20% at checkout while shopping for your favorite brands.
Kansas City region is excited to host their second annual club race in the rolling hills of the Ozarks. The 2025 Race the Roller Coaster Club Race will be held on September 27th and 28th at Ozark International Raceway. The challenging 3.97-mile, 19-quarter course has almost 1,500 feet of combined elevation change per lap. The track is in Gravois Mills, Missouri, a few hours from Kansas City. There will be 3 sprint races, one on Saturday, followed by a happy hour with drinks and refreshments, and 2 on Sunday. Both days will have charity parade laps during lunch and give friends and family a taste of the roller coaster. The points races at this club race will earn points towards the 2025 Mid-America Series as well as the 2025 PCA National Championship Points Series. Register at clubregistration.net. The last PCA East Coast race of the season is at Carolina Motorsports Park, October 17th through 19th. The Carolinas Challenge is held at the 2.3-mile road course that's about an hour south of Charlotte. The event will feature the vintage class runoffs, 3 sprint races, and a 65-minute endurance race on Sunday. Wind down after Friday's practice with a social presented by Narrow Escape Motorsports, and after Saturday's sprint races, enjoy the award ceremony in full Southern hospitality with music and barbecue. Visit clubregistration.net to sign up.